entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan. And be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, it's Ceasefire Day. Maybe. Last night, the 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. our time deadline, we didn't get to it in time for, what was it? Bridge and Power Plant Day? Is that the way it was described?
Well, that's what he was threatening to bomb.
I think it's still, well, he named it. He names everything. Everything is, remember, what did he call April 2nd, Tariff Day? Liberation Day. Liberation Day. President Trump last night securing a ceasefire by way of moderation and negotiations with Pakistan and Iran. And so last night I'm putting together the live stream on the YouTube channel, and there's Trump secure ceasefire, and I'm like, it's gonna be not a ceasefire by the time the show starts tomorrow. I wasn't sure. So if you look at the YouTube channel, you'll see deal maker, Trump secures ceasefire, ? Because I wasn't sure. Certainly not going to be braggadocious about it when I don't know if the ceasefire is actually effectively started yet. Brad, can you get that TV going for me so I can see that while we're talking? I'm watching the press conference here that is going to be taking place at the White House. Now, there have been some 10-point plans that have been released on the internet saying this is what Iran is saying that they want to do, are going to do. And when I am looking through the president's reactions to the 10-point plans that were being released last night, it's obvious that there are some that he did not say were accurate. So the White House is going to be doing a press conference any minute now, and we're going to carry it live when that does happen. I just have to say right now, here's a tweet from somebody, and it's Donald Trump's True Social post. It says, "A whole civilization will die tonight," and it's a woman named Vanessa. She retweeted it. It says, "Me when I'm about to get my period." Sorry, boys. That's just really funny.
That's not what I was expecting.
A whole civilization
at the top of the show.
will die tonight. Hey, I know that this is a man's world and all that stuff, but this show is a ladies' show.
I'm aware of that.
Me when I'm about to get my period, a whole civilization will die tonight.
Can I at least
that's just
say...
funny. Men, you think that's funny too?
Yeah, we think that's funny.
You're just not laughing very loud if you know it's that time of the month?
The worst spin on what the ceasefire is that, hey, we'll wait and see, which is actually pretty good news because the best spin on it is this could be the actual first step to a real negotiation.
And we'll throw to the YouTube poll that is up right now, youtube.com/@AnnieFrey. Also, would love your feedback on the Annie Frey Show text line at 314-241-9797. Have you heard the phrase that the lefties are using, the taco phrase?
Oh, isn't that an acronym?
Trump always chickens out.
Trump always chickens out.
So
Taco.
Folks, I want to take the opportunity to point out that in their criticism of President Trump leading into the 8 p.m. deadline, one of two things was going to happen. A whole civilization will die tonight or it won't. And they were prepared for that, to say that if he did bomb them, he'd be a warmonger, a war criminal. If he doesn't bomb them, then he chickened out. So you see how this plays in the social media quippy tweets and posts and such?
So if you were on the left and you're saying taco for Trump, what you're saying is, I wish we would have bombed the civilization into the Stone Age?
No, because you've already thought more about it than they have.
Okay.
It's not about that. You know what it's about? Hating Trump.
I think I'm catching on.
You're catching on, yes. It's only been 10 years. Let's listen to Trey Ying's report on this.
That includes 10 separate points. Some of them include the U.S. guaranteeing a non-aggression pact with Iran, continuing Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, acceptance that Iran can enrich uranium for its nuclear program, removal of all primary sanctions on Iran, removal of secondary sanctions, an end of all UN Security Council resolutions against Iran, an end to the IAEA's resolutions on Iran's nuclear program, compensation payment for Iran and its war damage, withdrawal of U.S. forces from the region, and a ceasefire on all fronts. Those are a number of points that are not going to be reached, and the next 2 weeks are going to be critical as negotiators try to hammer this out.
So Trey Yingst reporting on this ceasefire. I mean, I don't really understand exactly what has been agreed upon. A lot of times these ceasefire situations, we saw this in Ukraine, didn't we? Wasn't there a Russia-Ukraine ceasefire a few times? And in that instance, the ceasefire was to begin at an hour in the near future. It wasn't like, okay, handshake, we agree on a ceasefire, stop sending bombs. Because there are still bombs. And you have to have Israel be involved in the ceasefire as much as the United States does. Because if the United States is like, yep, we'll stop bombing Iran, and Israel's like, we're not, then Iran's not going to stop launching missiles, whatever they have left. So there has to be an agreement among all parties involved. And I anticipate that when we hear the White House at this press conference today, we're going to get laid out exactly what that might look like. Let's see here. That is not the current press conference. So, Carolyn Levitt will be speaking shortly. We will be covering that YouTube poll that I was getting to there when we got sidetracked by Taco. Trump always chickens out. How do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? It's the art of the deal, too soon to know, or Trump always chickens out?
Well, I was torn between art of the deal and too soon to know, because I think both of those probably are true.
I feel like we'll be able to answer this question more maybe after the press conference.
Possibly, but we'll be able to answer it very well within a week or two, too. Like I said before, this is the best case scenario at the moment. There wasn't going to be that everybody walked away and said, hey, we solved it. It had to start with this. And so it has. So that's the art of the deal. Whether it holds, though, not because Trump won't follow through, but will Iran follow through? That's the big question.
Do you feel like yesterday in my conversation with Jim Talent, one of the questions that was brought up was, who are we negotiating with?
Great question.
Because we're consistently hearing that we've taken everybody out that has been in charge. As soon as they're in charge, you even hear President Trump say sometimes, we're not really sure who actually is in charge. Well, if you've got multiple people who are jockeying for that position, if there is an instance where you've got one group that's kind of old guard and one group that's a fresh new, like, hey, maybe let's salvage the rest of what Iran is here. And maybe we don't have to be religiously driven in our government in the future. Maybe there is a pathway forward that doesn't have to look like what it did before. That doesn't mean that you change your religion or you become a democratic republic and all of that. You kind of really need those two groups to work it out amongst them. You know what I mean? And maybe okay, the United States and Israel can keep coming in and eliminating the people who are there who want to continue to lob bombs, but maybe they need to kind of take care of that themselves, if you know what I mean.
And there are a lot of Islamic nations, mainly in the Middle East, that aren't as crazy as Iran. So it's not impossible to still have an Iranian leadership. Of course, I would rather not see that. But I don't know that we'll ever see that completely change. But it's possible to have leadership, as many, many other Middle Eastern countries do, that isn't annihilationist. Because ultimately, the Iranian leadership, they just don't care. They don't care about anything, at least the former leadership. I don't know about the current iteration of it. They didn't care, and they would die, and they would go all the way to the grave and put you in front of them and push you into the grave ahead of them just for a better place.
You know what I'd like to do? Let's take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and monitor the situation with what's going on with the White House press briefing. It is scheduled for a noon start, but we're 12 minutes in. This is not unusual. Victoria Coates, the vice president of Heritage's Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for National Security and Foreign Policy. She's been a well sought after voice frequently on Fox News, has been weighing in on this. So we're going to speak with Victoria Coates at 1:30. You'll keep it right here on 97.1 FM Talk for all the latest breaking news. And Carolyn Levitt, and she might have company at the podium. We don't know yet because she hasn't walked out yet. We'll carry that live as soon as it happens. Don't go away. Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan is one simple phone call, text message away at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Contacting Stewie is a smart move. You're going to be able to talk to him about how his bagel loan, which is only available at Stewart's American Mortgage, can improve your mortgage position. Getting a brand new home? Well, you're going to need to get a mortgage, certainly. Why not go with the place that has $0 in closing costs? No closing costs, no closing fees at the end of that transaction. That's where money comes out of your pocket for the transaction. You don't have to do that. Stewie takes care of that for you. So if you reach out to him at 314-324-4440, call or text, you can talk to him about your new mortgage. You can also talk to him about a cash-out refinance or just a general refinance if you want to shorten the term, if you want to lengthen the term, if you want to take out cash and fix up the house, whatever it might be. Stewie can walk you through all of your options. He's a great guy and a great businessman. 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. That YouTube poll. Sorry, guys. It took me a minute to get it up there. How do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? We're waiting on the White House press conference to start here shortly. And I think we'll know more of the Iran asks and the White House's response when they do come out and deliver whatever the press conference statement that they have to make. It might just be Kaelan Leavitt. Kaelan Leavitt is due in 4 or 5 weeks with a baby.
I did not know that.
May baby. I don't know the exact due date. When I looked it up because I knew she was pregnant and I was like, she just looks great. She looks like she's glowing. Yes, I know. I hated that. I hated when people are like, you're glowing, Annie. They always meant it to be nice. I just didn't take it. I didn't feel it was a me thing. It wasn't a them thing. People are trying to be nice. People say you're glowing. I'm like, that's sweat. It's hot in here.
No. Okay. I got an actual question about this.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody says you're glowing.
When you're pregnant?
When you're pregnant.
Yeah.
What do they mean? Are they just saying you're happy looking?
I think what they're saying, first of all, everything about your physicality changes.
So are they just being nice?
No, I think it's actually a genuine spirit of happiness that people see.
So they are talking about your countenance is just bright. That's what they're saying.
I think that's you should write books. Way of saying it, that you're kind of emanating a certain level of joy.
Okay.
But there could be a dewy nature to your skin. I also think that, women are, seems silly to say it like this, when they're pregnant, they're fuller, their skin is fuller and everything.
Your hair.
Your hair grows more. And the worst thing is that after you have babies, your hair loss, that you do not lose your hair when you're pregnant. That you like retain it in a way that is infinitely better than when you're not pregnant, but your body actually goes through a process of catching up afterwards. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's weird.
Just hair coming out of your head like crazy. But I think she looks fantastic. If you look at her and you know she's pregnant, you don't see her pregnant belly a lot, but you can tell in her face that she's pregnant, and she just looks she looks maternal. I don't know how else to say it, but if she's out there doing this, she is in her 8th month of pregnancy doing this. So mad props to that woman for whatever schedule she's keeping. But I wouldn't be surprised to see other people come out to the podium. Pete Hegseth gave another press conference. How are you feeling about the Pete Hegseth press conferences?
You don't need to listen to them because you already know what they're going to be ahead of time. I don't hate the bravado, but I also don't need any new information from him because I just know what he's going to say.
You get that information from General Kane, who comes out with him, and Hegseth does the Hegseth thing, and then General Kane comes out and gives you the nuts and bolts.
More on the Pete Hegseth thing, though. He's just like the Secretary of Strut.
Yeah. Like he's out there and he's like, before I tell you
Got my
about
little American flag.
Iran, I'm going to show you a couple of push-ups.
Yeah. I'm surprised he doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah. And in the military, we're going to do this too. Did you see? I don't know. Do we have Lawrence O'Donnell on this?
Mm-mm.
God bless you for keeping it off here. Because I wasn't going to play it. That man, he is not okay.
Well, what's the gist of it? Is he mad at Pete Hegseth?
I think that Pete Hegseth said something to the effect of, this just shows that America's not going to leave a man behind.
Okay.
What's wrong with what I said?
Nothing?
It kind of implies that we might leave women behind.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? Oh, no. I can't believe I haven't seen this. That's terrible.
That's why I'm not airing it. He's so ragey. I got mad when I found out that he kind of took over the writing of West Wing in the second half because Aaron Sorkin, I don't know the drama. If I said this and you're one of the West Wing nerds, you know all the details. I don't need to know them. But Lawrence O'Donnell is a huge part of the last portion of West Wing when people stopped watching it.
That guy was a political fiction writer?
Yeah, he was
Whoa.
also he still professionally does it on MSNBC.
Yes, clearly.
It's terrible. Ceasefire, as I mentioned when I was putting the stream together last night, I was at a baseball game for my son at Maryville Christian High School in Maryville. Wonderful high school. Such a great place out there. Not a Lutheran school. My kid goes to Lutheran high school out there, but just it's so great to be able to see these Christian schools that are succeeding, competing against each other. I love that. Sitting out there, windy as heck, sunny, mid to upper 50s, super windy, kind of miserable. So I was going in between watching the game and putting my blanket over my head so I could check and be like, do we bomb Iran yet? Is that happening? Baseball game for us wasn't great. Good for Maryville Christian. And I see that, he did it. The deal is done. And so I basically put my phone down. I'm like, I don't think we're bombing Iran tonight. And then we just went on with the baseball game. Is that how most people are consuming this?
Yes.
Or are people, have they cannonballed into this situation now and they want to know all the details?
No, I think when there's a hard deadline like there was last night, I think people are paying pretty close attention. But it's still, even though when you want to pay attention, you're still living life. You're still maybe not checking at the moment what's happening. The way I found out last night was I went to pick my kids up from my dad's house. And my dad's house.
My dad.
And he turned on
MUH dad.
it was Fox Business or one of the business channels. and the oil futures were way up. And so
you're like,
we said,
"Whoa."
oh, that must be the answer right there.
Let's listen to a little bit more here from Trey Yingst discussing the Strait of Hormuz here is a really key part of this negotiation.
Is being discussed with the Iranian regime. This comes as we can report that 2 vessels have now passed through the Strait of Hormuz, the first ships to use this thoroughfare since the ceasefire went into effect. This really was an 11th hour agreement, the president and his team getting it across the finish line to end the hostilities across the region for at least 2 weeks. We are learning more about what is taking place across the Middle East. There are a number of ceasefire violations reported, not just by Israel, but also Gulf countries, including the UAE and Kuwait. We're also getting more details on that 10-point proposal that was presented by the Iranians. We're going to pull up the graphics.
So that's Trey Yingst reporting on the Strait of Hormuz here. But I also am going to take you into the news right now as we are waiting for the White House to do the press briefing that there are reports that the Strait of Hormuz is closing once again.
But the world is hinging on any updates we can get from these negotiations with all eyes on the Strait of Hormuz.
Go to this briefing first because.
Yeah, it's clearly going to be a big part of this as we go forward. And the Iranians, as I say, they know the power that they have. Israelis fear that they will use it again and again to manipulate the United States as J.D. Vance and others possibly get involved in these talks. So it really is a difficult thing that the Iranians perhaps did not know the power of the strait as they do now before this war started.
So there you have a report suggesting that maybe Iran's like, well, this Strait of Hormuz thing seems to be a really big deal in this whole negotiation. So now we're going to go to the press conference, which is starting here with Carolyn Leavitt in the White House. Let's listen in and hear what she has to say.
Yesterday marked the very first conviction under the Take It Down Act, landmark legislation that First Lady Melania Trump played an instrumental role in getting passed, that protects victims from non-consensual AI-generated sexually explicit images, cyber stalking, and threats of violence. This is a huge achievement for the First Lady, and I know the President is very proud of his wife's efforts in getting this critical legislation passed to protect America's youth. So we thank the First Lady for her efforts, and we hope that others will report on this historic conviction yesterday. With respect to the 2-week ceasefire announced by President Trump last night, this is a victory for the United States of America that the President and our incredible military made happen. From the very beginning of Operation Epic Fury, President Trump stated this would be a 4 to 6 week military operation to dismantle the military threat posed by the radical Islamic Iranian regime. Thanks to the unbelievable capabilities of America's war fighters, the United States has achieved and exceeded those core military objectives in just 38 days. The U.S. military destroyed Iran's defense industrial base, crushing the regime's ability to manufacture weapons that they and their proxies use to maim and kill Americans and terrorize the world. Iran's ability to build and stockpile ballistic missiles and long-range drones has also been set back by years compared to where it was 6 weeks ago prior to the launch of Operation Epic Fury. We destroyed the vast majority of Iran's ballistic missiles, launcher vehicles, and long-range attack drones through more than 450 strikes on ballistic missiles and approximately 800 strikes on Iran's drone launching units and storage facilities. In total, more than 13,000 targets across Iran were struck. Again, this is in the matter of just 38 days. Meanwhile, the Iranian Navy was completely annihilated. The United States destroyed more than 150 naval vessels in total, including 16 entire classes of Iranian warships. Despite once being the largest undersea force in the Middle East, Iran now has 0 submarine vessels. 97% of Iran's once massive inventory of more than 5,000 naval mines has also been targeted and destroyed. Iran's air forces are functionally and operationally irrelevant at this point, after the United States maintained total air dominance over their country for weeks on end. To underscore the significance of this, before Operation Epic Fury, The Iranian Air Force would fly between 30 to 100 flights per day. Today, that number is 0. Iran's ability to fund and support its terrorist proxies has been greatly reduced. At this point, Iran can no longer distribute weapons to its proxies in the region. And most importantly, Iran will not be able to acquire nuclear weapons. Prior to the start of this successful operation, Iran was aggressively expanding its short-range ballistic missile arsenal. Through these weapons and its navy, Iran was attempting to build a military buildup around their country that would pose an imminent and existential threat to the United States military assets in the Middle East, our allies in the region, and ultimately the free world. Iran was pursuing this dangerous and aggressive strategy for one reason: to hold the entire world hostage to its terrorist ambitions. The Iranians aim to use their expanded military capabilities as a shield around their country to continue achieving their ultimate goal internally, building nuclear bombs. But their murderous and evil plans have been blown up, quite literally and figuratively, along with their military, their nuclear program, and most of their senior leadership, including the former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Their command and control structures were also massively disrupted after being struck more than 2,000 times. Many of their remaining leaders are paralyzed in fear and no longer enjoy the freedom to move around their country freely and meet openly. Thanks to the unmatched excellence of our warriors at the direction of the Commander-in-Chief, the world has just witnessed a historically swift and successful military triumph. President Trump started Operation Epic Fury with strategic military objectives, and the United States has clearly achieved them. As we mark this progress, we also remember and honor the 13 American heroes who laid down their lives in this noble effort. I know President Trump and our grateful nation honors their ultimate sacrifice, and we will never forget them. May God bless their families. The valiant efforts of all of our incredible service members created maximum leverage for the President of the United States, allowing he and his leadership team to engage in tough negotiations over the past couple of weeks that have now created an opening for a diplomatic solution in long-term peace in the Middle East. The President's maximum pressure and the leverage created by the success of Operation Epic Fury led to the Iranian regime asking for and ultimately agreeing to a ceasefire proposal with the United States. Iran could no longer tolerate being bombed or taking the gamble of what was to come following President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline last night. Iran has agreed to open the Strait of Hormuz, and as the President said, we have received a proposal from the Iranians that has been determined to be a workable basis on which to negotiate. I've seen a lot of inaccurate coverage today from the media about these negotiations and these plans already. So let me be clear and correct the record. The Iranians originally put forward a 10-point plan that was fundamentally unserious, unacceptable, and completely discarded. It was literally thrown in the garbage by President Trump and his negotiating team. Many outlets in this room have falsely reported on that plan as being acceptable to the United States, and that is false. With the President's deadline fast approaching and the United States military completely decimating Iran with each passing hour, the regime acknowledged reality to the negotiating team. They put forward a more reasonable and entirely different and condensed plan to the President and his team. President Trump and the team determined the new modified plan was a workable basis on which to negotiate and to align it with our own 15-point proposal. The President's red lines, namely the end of Iranian enrichment in Iran, have not changed. And the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd. The President will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America, and he as a negotiating team will focus on this effort over the next 2 weeks, so long as the Strait of Hormuz remains open with no limitations or delays. These extraordinarily sensitive and complex negotiations will take place behind closed doors over the course of the next 2 weeks. I would strongly advise the media against running with narratives that have no basis in fact. What Iran says publicly or feeds to all of you in the press is much different than what they communicate to the United States, the President, and his team privately. Never underestimate President Trump's ability to successfully advance America's interests and broker peace. President Trump has a proven track record of achieving good deals on behalf of the United States and the American people, and he will only accept one that puts America first. With that, I will take your questions today. I'm sure you have a lot of them. In our new media seat, we have Shane Harris with the AMAC Newsline. Shane, thank you for being here. Why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Caroline. Two questions for you. First, following the president's announcement of the ceasefire, if this is indeed the end of hostilities in Iran, what is the president's message to the American people about what was achieved for our country through Operation Epic Fury?
Sure. I think I just laid out a significant portion of that in my opening remarks. 6 weeks ago, the president looked the American people in the eye directly, and he told them that he launched this operation to take out the imminent threat that was posed by Iran. And that threat has now been greatly destroyed. Their navy, their missiles, their defense industrial base, and their desire and their plan to build a nuclear bomb inside their country is no longer going to be allowed, can no longer happen, thanks to the remarkable success of Operation Epic Fury over the course of the last 38 days. That has been absolutely achieved, and now we're moving into the next phase of this, which is a negotiating period to put some fine points on this and to hopefully broker an agreement that can achieve long-term peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, and then second, what is the president's message to American seniors who have a much higher voter participation rate and they're likely to be a key swing vote in the midterm elections?
Well, the president loves our seniors across the country. And as you know, the president signed the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut last year, which greatly reduced taxes on Social Security for our seniors. In fact, thanks to the Working Families Tax Cut, nearly 90% of seniors will no longer pay tax on their Social Security. That's a huge win for our seniors and also for our middle class and working families across the country with the no tax on tips provision and the no tax on overtime. Next week is tax week. You'll hear a lot from the president about how his policies have benefited the American people, and I'm proud to report that the president will be traveling next week to the great states of Nevada and Arizona to tout this historic accomplishment over the course of the next week. Thank you for being here, Shane. Gabe.
Thank you, Caroline. Iranian state media is saying that Iran has now closed off the Strait of Hormuz today in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. What's the White House response to that? And you just listed many military successes. I understand that. But strategically, how is the administration arguing that Iran does not have more economic leverage than it did before the start of the war?
Sure. Well, with respect to the first reporting out of Iranian state media, the president was made aware of those reports before I came to the podium. That is completely unacceptable. And again, this is a case of what they're saying publicly is different privately. We have seen an uptick of traffic in the Strait today, and I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly and safely. That is his expectation. It has been relayed to him privately that is what's taking place, and these reports publicly are false.
Caroline, the president yesterday threatened that a whole civilization would die if a ceasefire deal wasn't reached, understanding that Iranian leaders have previously said death to America. But why is it appropriate for the president of the United States to use that kind of language when talking about civilian targets? And was the president mocking Islam by signing off his True Social post over the weekend, praise be to Allah? Wouldn't that antagonize Muslim allies across the world?
Well, I understand the questions about the president's rhetoric, but what the president cares most about is results. And in fact, his very tough rhetoric and his tough negotiating style is what has led to the result that you are all witnessing today. Iran publicly acknowledging last night that they have agreed or that they wanted this ceasefire with the United States because they no longer could tolerate being bombed by our very powerful and lethal military, and that they have committed to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which the president will hold them accountable for, and it's something the administration is closely monitoring in real time.
So,
Danny.
Should the world not take his word seriously?
The world should take his word very seriously in understanding that the president is always most interested in results. And it was the Iranians who backed down, not President Trump. He said that they would face very grave consequences, as you just laid out, by the 8 p.m. deadline if they did not agree to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. And what did they do last night? They agreed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Danny.
Thanks, Caroline. Would President Trump like to see Lebanon included in this peace deal? As you know, there have been increased Israeli strikes on Lebanon today with dozens of casualties there.
Sure. Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire. That has been relayed to all parties involved in the ceasefire. As you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu put out a statement last night in support of the ceasefire, in support of the United States' efforts, and he's also assured the president they'll continue to be a helpful partner throughout the course of the next 2 weeks.
Is there any thought, though, that the president might like to see Lebanon included at a future date, given that it seems to be causing or potentially undermining the Iran ceasefire?
Again, this will continue to be discussed, I am sure, between the President and Prime Minister Netanyahu, the United States and Israel, and all of the parties involved. But at this point in time, they're not included in the ceasefire deal. Jeff.
Thank you. Caroline, will the U.S. take part in talks with Iran in Islamabad on Friday?
I can announce that the President is dispatching his negotiating team, led by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Witkoff, and Mr. Kushner to Islamabad for talks this weekend. The first round of those talks will take place on Saturday morning local time, and we look forward to those in-person meetings.
What role does the President see for the U.S. in monitoring or helping with the Strait of Hormuz going forward?
I think the President commented on that this morning. We're going to continue to monitor it very, very closely. We will be helpful in any way that we can, but we fully expect Iran to do this, and the President has made that quite clear as well. It's, again, as his statement said last night, this ceasefire is subject to the safe reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Again, this was just determined last night. We understand things take time, but that's the President's expectation, and he will hold everyone to it. Sure, in the green blazer.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure, and then in front of you. But Andrew, you can go ahead.
All right.
You're not wearing a green blazer.
I am actually wearing a green blazer.
It's a little brown to me, but go ahead.
Fair enough. Regarding the president's rhetoric, when the U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003, George W. Bush said in a message to the Iraqi people that the military campaign was directed, quote, against the lawless men who rule your country and not against you. Yesterday, the president threatened to destroy Iran's civilization, the entire civilization. Not the Iranian government, but the Iranian civilization, the Iranian people. The U.S. has been a moral leader for most of its history by fighting wars against other governments, not against civilizations. How can the president claim that America can ever have the moral high ground if he's threatening to destroy civilizations and not casting wars as fights against other governments?
Andrew, I think you should take a look at the actions of this president over the course of the past 6 weeks and the actions of our brave men and women in our United States military who have taken out essentially taken out the military of a rogue Islamic regime that has chanted death to America for 47 years, that has killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers over the course of the last 5 decades. The president absolutely has the moral high ground over the Iranian terrorist regime, and for you to even suggest otherwise is frankly insulting.
With all due respect, Caroline,
Go ahead.
with all due respect,
Go ahead.
there is...
Just given what we've seen in Lebanon today and the increased attacks from Israel, I mean, is there any concern that Netanyahu is trying to kill the ceasefire?
The president spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu last night, and in that private conversation, Prime Minister Netanyahu relayed exactly what he said to the world publicly, that he supports the president, and Israel remains a key ally and partner to the United States. They've been a tremendous partner over the course of the past 6 weeks, and we thank them for their heroic efforts as well. And the president had that conversation last night, and that was relayed to the world publicly as well. Reagan, go ahead.
Caroline, I have a question for you on Iran, and then I have a question on the Dignity Act as well. On Iran, it's been reported that the ceasefire was struck after the involvement of 2 unlikely factors, J.D. Vance and China. What role did those parties play in striking a deal?
Well, Vice President Vance has played a very significant and a key role in this since the very beginning. Of course, he's the president's right-hand man. He is the Vice President of the United States. He's been involved in all of these discussions, and as I just announced, he'll be leading this new phase of negotiations in Islamabad later this week. With respect to China, there were conversations that took place between top levels of our government and China's government. The president has great respect for President Xi and a great working relationship with him and with that country, and he looks forward to visiting China in just a few weeks.
On the Dignity Act, it's getting a fresh push through Congress. It would give some illegal immigrants in the country a path to citizenship. What's the White House's position on this legislation, and would the president sign it if it made it to his desk?
Honestly, Reagan, I haven't spoken to the president about the legislation, but I will have that conversation, and we'll get you our formal position on it as soon as we can. You're welcome. Go ahead.
The president suggested in an interview this morning that he would support a joint U.S.-Iranian venture to charge tolls for ships going through the strait. Does the president believe that the U.S. should earn revenue from the Strait of Hormuz going forward?
It's an idea the president has floated, as you know, and it's something that will continue to be discussed over the course of the next 2 weeks. But the immediate priority of the president is the reopening of the strait without any limitations, whether in the form of tolls or otherwise.
And on the highly enriched uranium, has Iran given the administration any indication that it would simply turn over the enriched uranium, or is this an expectation the president has that he would have to send in ground troops in order to do that?
This is on the top of the priority list for the president and his negotiating team as they head into this next round of discussions. And as I said in my opener, that is a red line that the president is not going to back away from, and he's committed to ensuring that takes place. We hope it will be through diplomacy.
Have they given any indication that they would turn it over?
They have.
They have.
Yes. Trevor.
The latest news out of Iran is that the air defenses have been activated in several cities, including Isfahan, and that explosions have been heard in Isfahan. Who is bombing Iran right now?
Were those reports just as of a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously I'll have to go back and check with the national security team. I'm standing out here with all of you, but I will do that and we will get you an answer, okay?
And just on the civilization question that we've been talking about.
And I would just add to that point, again, I haven't seen these reports. I'm not verifying them. Not that I don't trust you, Trevor, but I want to go back and check with the experts here at the White House. I would just say, and I would echo what the Vice President said this morning, this is a fragile truce. Ceasefires are fragile by nature. We've seen this with respect to the 12-day war with Iran and Israel last year. It takes time sometimes for these ceasefires to be fully effectuated. And one of the results of Operation Epic Fury was we completely dismantled Iran's command and control center, which makes it difficult for them to pass messages up and down the chain. And so we understand that. I would caution a little bit of patience, but of course we want to see the ceasefire effectuated and abided by all parties as quickly as possible.
Thank you. And the American presidential administrations, going back to Ronald Reagan, have said this formulation about nuclear war, that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. Is that still the view of this administration, given the president's comments about civilization?
I have no change in our view on that policy. Katie.
Thanks, Caroline. I'm just, given the gravity of what he said yesterday, what was your understanding of what he meant when he said, this civilization is going to be eliminated?
I think it was a very, very strong threat from the President of the United States that led the Iranian regime to cave to their knees and ask for a ceasefire and agree to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. So it was a very strong threat that led to results. And as the Secretary of War stated at the Pentagon this morning, it was not an empty threat by any means. The Pentagon had a target list that they were ready to hit go on at 8 p.m. last night if the Iranian regime had not agreed to open the strait, which they did, and I think that's something we should all be grateful for.
The United States is a moral leader in the world, given that
I was asked this exact same question by your colleague Andrew in the back, and I think, again, the insinuation by anyone in this room that Iran somehow has the moral high ground over the United States of America is insulting, considering the atrocities that they have committed against our people and our military over the past 5 decades. John, go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. 2 questions for you. One has to do with a statement, a joint statement put out this morning by some of America's European allies, our NATO allies. And in that joint statement, they said regarding the Strait of Hormuz, our governments will contribute to ensuring freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. What's the administration's reaction to that joint statement? Does that smooth things over when the president meets with NATO Secretary General a little bit later this afternoon?
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over the course of the last 6 weeks when it's the American people who have been funding their defense. As you know, President Trump will be meeting with Secretary Ruta in a couple of hours here at the White House, and I know he looks forward to having a very frank and candid conversation with him.
And then secondly, in regards to this conflict, 38 days, as you pointed out, President Trump has said that there's been regime change. Has that regime change led to more freedoms for the Iranian people?
I think that's a question that's being asked a little bit too early, John, and we hope that is the case, but it's something that has yet to be seen. Eamon.
Caroline, on this question of tolling by the Iranians in the Strait of Hormuz, I've heard you talk about a number of red lines that the president has in this negotiation, but I haven't heard you say that Iranian tolling in the Strait of Hormuz is a red line. Would it be acceptable to the United States at the end of all this if the Iranians are able to charge tolls in the Strait of Hormuz?
I think the president was very clear and simplistic in his language last night in his Truth Social post, where he said that this ceasefire is subject to the free, safe, and immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. That's very plain language, and it should be taken at face value.
You mean free to charge?
Carrie, go ahead. Without limitation, including tolls, yes. Carrie.
A quick follow-up on the autonomy. Why would the U.S. Allow Iran to collect tolls from the Strait of Hormuz? That's not something that we've opposed for a number of years now.
Again, that's not something we've said that we've definitively accepted. The joint venture is something that was proposed by the president, but he was very clear in his statement last night. He wants to see the strait reopened immediately without limitation, and that's something we're going to hold them to.
And second question on
family and friends in Iran. I myself am Iranian, and I've been talking to them through the blackout. One of my family members yesterday said goodbye to me. So what message should we be sending Iranians when they message me saying what should they be doing right now? How should they stay safe? Because they really don't know what to do.
I think the president's main priority, and my main priority as his spokeswoman, is to make sure that clear messages are sent to the American people, of course, which is my job today. With respect to the Iranian people, the president, has taken out the imminent threat that was posed by their military to the United States, to our allies in the region, to our forces in the region, and of course, as the president has long said, he hopes that Iran will be a country of peace, of prosperity, and we're moving into this next round of negotiations to hopefully come to an agreement with this new regime that will create long-term stability in the Middle East.
He has said that they should stay inside of their homes and also take back their country. So there's a contradiction there. So how do you address that?
Again, we're moving into this next round of negotiations with the remnants of the regime and those that we are speaking with now to hopefully reach a place of peace long-term for the region, and that includes the Iranian people as well. In the blue, go ahead.
Thank you, Carly. The White House posted the statement from the Iranian government that passage in the strait will be coordinated with Iran's armed forces. As of today, who controls the Strait of Hormuz?
Again, these statements were put out 12 hours ago. We expect that the strait will be opened immediately. As I've said earlier, we have seen an uptick in traffic in the strait, and it's something that we are monitoring minute by minute, hour by hour as the days go on.
Who controls the strait right now?
One on the deportations of Iranian officials, and then on the negotiations. Are there still security concerns about Vice President Vance being part of these peace talks, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner? And then two, given the ongoing deportation of General Soleimani's niece, does the Trump administration plan to deport more relatives or people in the families of Iranian officials that are in the U.S.?
Certainly, anyone who is here fraudulently. I understand one of the individuals who their visa was revoked by Secretary Rubio and they were deported by ICE. They had a fraudulent asylum claim. That's against the laws of the United States. So anyone who is here illegally or fraudulently is subject to our nation's immigration laws and will be removed from our country. And I know this continues to be a top priority for the State Department, working in conjunction with the Department of Homeland Security. With respect to the safety of the Vice President, we fully trust the United States Secret Service to do their job, to keep the Vice President and the President's negotiating team safe. They do a tremendous job, and we fully trust them to do that.
Caroline.
In the back, go ahead.
The President has said Cuba is next. What's the message to the American people regarding Cuba, and what can Cubans expect in relation to this statement?
Well, look, I think when President Trump said that, and he later clarified after making that statement, that he meant the Cuban regime is bound to fall. The country is very weak. They're in a very weak position economically, obviously, financially. The Cuban people are fed up with their government, as they should be. And these talks and discussions continue to happen at the highest level of our government. I don't have any updates or announcements for you with respect to Cuba policy today. Good to see you.
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary Hegseth said this morning that U.S. troops would be sticking around. Can you expound upon that, what we should expect from U.S. troops in theater for the next 2 weeks and beyond?
I would defer you to the Pentagon for any specifics on assets that have been in place in the Middle East, but take the Secretary at his word, and also the President has reiterated this as well in his own words, that we're not going to move anything immediately. Again, this is a 2-week ceasefire where we hope at the end, and we expect at the end, we'll have a good agreement between the United States and Iran, but in the meantime, we're going to ensure that our military is always at the ready of the Commander-in-Chief. I'll take a couple more in the back. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
On NATO, I'll take your question. Go
Thank you,
ahead.
Caroline. On NATO, can you tell me, is the United States still considering withdrawing from NATO? Is that still a possibility?
It's something the President has discussed, and I think it's something the President will be discussing in a couple of hours with Secretary General Ruta, and perhaps you'll hear directly from the President following that meeting later this afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
So Kaelan Leavitt walking away from the White House press secretary podium there. She did such a fantastic job. Refers to the 2-week ceasefire as a fragile truce, which is better than death of a civilization. Easy for me to say, which was the pending doom of yesterday's threat. It looks as though they have come together for something, headed in the right direction. Don't think we've solved the problem quite yet. A little bit on Kaelan Leavitt from commenter Chris here in the Annie Frey Show YouTube. I feel bad for her husband. He does one thing wrong, she will remember it and use it as ammo for 30 years later.
That's a good point.
Can you Kaelan Leavitt, she just has this ability to communicate, but based on spitting facts. Give me another question. I was thinking, watching her, that she could have wrapped that up about 4 or 5 times, but she's unafraid of taking these questions, and she answers them with facts and statements that, quotes from the president, positions from the administration. I just think she's great. I think she's great.
The journalists, there were several of them, but there was one in particular who was accusing Trump of antagonizing Iran and using vitriolic
Iran's
language.
just been sitting here minding their own business, and here comes Donald Trump.
Shows up and then bursts through and is like, "Hey, look at me." Those are the people that are writing the news and reporting the news that you receive on a daily basis.
I'd stick with the writing the news. I don't know about the reporting part.
But Leavitt, she goes, "It worked." You're like, what?
Scoreboard.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Well, the YouTube poll, we'll throw this out. I said maybe you'll feel a little bit better about answering this poll after the press conference, after we hear from the administration. How do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? It's the art of the deal. It's too soon to know, or Trump always chickens out. You think the fact that President Trump didn't do the thing to the civilization that he truthed about before, do you think that was him chickening out? Gosh, they're I don't know what you guys want. I don't know. What's the goal here? What's the plan? That's not the direct quote, but it's in my mind. Go vote, YouTube poll, and text us. The Annie Frey Show text line is open for you. A reminder, these texts go directly to Ryan. 314-241-9797. 314-241-9797. Deroy Murdock, Victoria Coates, next. PointPestControl.com. If you go to Point Pest Control, point with an E, PointPestControl.com, you'll learn about their pest control services. I am a subscriber, Premier Service Plan subscriber, and Point Pest Control comes to my house quarterly. We don't have bugs. It's the biggest endorsement that I could give. I use them. Happy customer. Don't have bugs. So if you don't want to have bugs, you do want to have Point Pest Control. It's not just residential either. They do both residential and commercial. If you have ants creeping into your home right now, if you have evidence of what you think might be some winged creatures that are flying around, you maybe are worried about termites, Point Pest Control can handle termites. So call them at 636-798-0023. That's 636-798-0023 and talk to them about how they can control that pest problem that you have and get rid of it once and for all. And mention Annie and save an extra 10% on whatever the best special they have going on right now when you give them a call. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
Triton Exteriors, St. Louis roofing, siding, and gutter systems. We'll take care of you and your home. We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777. News alert. Talks between the U.S. and Iran. I'm Lisa Brady. Just confirmed by the White House.
I can announce that the president is dispatching his negotiating team, led by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Witkoff, and Mr. Kushner to Islamabad for talks this weekend. The first round of those talks will take place on Saturday morning local time, and we look forward to those in-person meetings.
This follows the 2-week ceasefire announced yesterday. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt says the U.S. military facilitated that despite conflicting reports about an Iranian peace plan that's not what President Trump wants.
The president's red lines, namely the end of Iranian enrichment in Iran, have not changed. And the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd.
Leavitt also says his immediate priority remains reopening the Strait of Hormuz without limitations, including tolls. There are reports that Iran closed it again, blaming continued Israeli strikes targeting Iran-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon. Both the White House and the Israeli Prime Minister say the ceasefire does not include Lebanon.
And there is concern here, according to the reporting of my colleague Trey Yingst, among Israeli officials that Iran will again and again use this as a bargaining chip, because what they are saying is you, the U.S. and Israel, sure, you can come in and cripple our military, but in return, we can and will cripple your economies by closing that strait.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in Tel Aviv. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the president handed control of the strait to Iran.
A 2-week ceasefire, especially one as fragile as this, is not a strategy. It's not a diplomatic solution. It's not a plan.
Again, talks now set for this weekend in Pakistan. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The southerly flow is back. That's why we've warmed up nicely. 75 for the high this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. Clear skies, breezy from the south. 54 on Thursday. Sunny, let's call it a warm day. 78 in the afternoon. Increasing clouds Thursday night with scattered showers and some thunderstorms around on Friday. 73. Not raining all the time. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get not just your AC, but your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the Preferred Partner Plan. And be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Harris, as for the ongoing DHS shutdown, which is now in day number 52, Congress is still out on their 2-week recess, and we do not expect the House to take any action on that DHS funding bill from the Senate during their pro forma session tomorrow. So bottom line, Harris, we expect this DHS shutdown to continue until next week at the least.
So the DHS shutdown, it continues to be shut down. And we're all asking ourselves, who's to blame for this? And it seems like that's kind of the end. Once we determine who to blame, it just keeps going. And it doesn't get resolved. It's not getting fixed. Is the shutdown benefiting one political party over the other? Does one party think that the shutdown is actually the goal? And it kind of feels like maybe that's the case. Let's get to our friend Deroy Murdock back with us here on the Annie Frey Show, nationally syndicated columnist, Fox News contributor, and Project 21 ambassador. Deroy, welcome back. It's good to have you with us.
Great to be with you again, Annie.
So let's talk a little bit about your piece in the Daily Signal, where you have said here, and I quote, "Hope and change have decayed into cruelty and sadism." What do you mean by that, with the Democrat Party being in possession of this shutdown and with no end in sight?
Absolutely. Well, what we see in this shutdown, as we've seen in other shutdowns and other activity by the Democrat Party, they seem to victimize the American public. We've watched this as 52 days of this shutdown. This is is 7 weeks and 3 days going on, coming up on 8 weeks now. And you've got the TSA agents who have not been paid. I think there's been an executive order that's given them some back pay, but they're all behind on their payments, behind on their mortgages, behind on their rent and car payments. We had some of these people have to take second jobs. Some of these people are getting their groceries at food banks. Apparently some of them are living in their cars. About 500 of them have quit. They said, look, I can't take any more of this. And they've just resigned. And who can blame them for that? And you think at some point, someone, Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries or somebody in the Democrat Party would say, you know, these people are really suffering. And you know, maybe you do this for a week or 10 days to make a point and then you get on with it. But to put people, their fellow American citizens, through coming up on 2 months of this sort of thing and make people just suffer. And I mean, the TSA agents are suffering. The people waiting in these long lines are suffering. You've got old folks who are trying to get on planes who are have mobility problems, or maybe their knees are wobbly. They're not feeling very good. You've got parents with little kids screaming, yelling, and jumping up and down. And
talk to me about that.
Kids aren't happy. The parents aren't happy. I guess you've been through that yourself.
Nightmare situation for parents. Airport movement in and of itself is the most stressful part of the travel when you've got those kids. I've seen some of these videos. That, and as you mentioned, the elderly. These are real, normal, everyday, average American people trying to do stuff, and it doesn't make any difference to these people who have the ability to do something.
Doesn't matter. And it's not, 10 or 20 minutes. I mean, some of these lines are going on for, 2 and 3 hours. That's excruciating. And as I say, this is not a bug. This is a feature. Don Beyer is a Democrat congressman from Virginia, regarding the shutdown and all of this we're discussing. He said, quote, "It's not forcing any change. In the meantime, we're making people hurt," unquote. Wow, unbelievable. So you've got a Democrat there admitting that what they're trying to do is to hurt people. And this echoes something that was said by Catherine Clark. She's the House Democrat whip who works just under the House Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries. And during the Schumer shutdown last fall, this is when food stamps are cut off to the poor. She said there will be, some families are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leverage times we have. So, let's let people suffer so we can have leverage over the evil, nasty Donald Trump. And if people have trouble paying getting their food with no food stamps, or they're standing up in long lines and aching, or they're TSA agents and others who are not getting paid, that's A-okay with the Democrat Party, because they've really become a party of cruelty and sadism, and I don't say that with any glee. It's really sad and awful. But you vote for these people, and they seem to be kind of willing, if not eager, to make people suffer, and not like they're just going after we're making life miserable for multi-billionaires in Palm Beach. They're making life miserable for regular folks, including, oddly enough, unionized federal employees, which should be their base. These should be the people who are treated like royalty by the Democrat Party, but they're even hurting their own federal employees who are unionized. And you'd think if you're a unionized government employee that Democrats would be rolling out the red carpet for you. Instead, they're making it miserable for these people, because this is something that Democrats do, which is spread misery from coast to coast. So why people keep voting him in is just kind of a mystery to me.
Yeah, and TSA has certainly got the lion's share of the attention, because the visuals of those lines and the people who are having to deal with this ineptitude coming out of Washington, D.C., the visuals are so easy to share. But currently still unfunded FEMA's long-term disaster care, disaster recovery, non-life-saving efforts. Grok explains that his disaster relief fund rapidly depleting, non-urgent reimbursements. Those reimbursements could be to the American people, proactive preparedness. Okay, we're going to set that aside for right now. Training, broader recovery projects, paused or strained right now. Coast Guard civilian personnel operations and pay has been suspended. I mean, this actually is affecting, as you point out in your article here on the Daily Signal, the real people of this country, the people that are the backbone of this country that the Democrat Party used to stand for, the little guy, the average Joe. And right now, they just make these things happen to the little guy, and they're only shake the fist at the sky is how the Republican Party is for the billionaires and the big corporate companies out there. They're very dishonest and disingenuous in how they present and how they act.
Oh, yeah. I think dishonest is the polite word. Liars is maybe the more accurate one. And they always say, the Republicans they're for the wealthy, and we're for the little guy. Well, I don't know. There are a lot of little guys and little gals around the country trying to pay their rent bills, trying to pay for their cars, trying to pay their home mortgages, and they're making it impossible for people to do so coming up on 2 months. I mean, if you're 2 months in arrears on your rent or 2 months in arrears on your mortgage, just think what that does to your credit rating. I hope the credit rating agencies will have some forbearance for these people, but who knows if the rules, I don't know if they're allowed to do that. The rules are so locked in, maybe they can't give people that kind of a break, but that doesn't help. And so, if you're in the middle of trying to get your mortgage refinanced and you miss 2 payments, guess what that does to your mortgage application? Denied, next, that's not very good. And you mentioned the Coast Guard. I mean, we're sort of, I guess we have this 2-week ceasefire. We'll see how that goes, but, we're sort of right in the middle of this war with Iran, and there was some talk, at least early on, about the Iranians perhaps launching drones from the West Coast or East Coast at our coastal cities. We want the Coast Guard cruising up and down the East and West Coast and in the Gulf of America to make sure that nothing like this happens. And these people are waiting to get paid too. So guess what? They're, rather than focusing on, that boat looks kind of funny. Who are those people? Are they up to no good? They're thinking about, how am I going to pay my bills? And oh my God, my landlord is going to kick me out. And whose sofa am I going to sleep on if I lose my apartment? And that'd be focused on, who are those bad guys? Who are those people? Are they bad guys or good guys? And let's figure that out right away. We don't want these people distracted. We don't want people who are looking at the security checks at airports, making sure nobody's bringing knives or bombs or box cutters onto planes, and they're thinking, one eye is focused on that, the other is focused on how am I going to pay my bills. We want these people completely laser focused on the security and safety of the American people. And the Democrats are giving them something else to think about for 2 months. God forbid anything goes wrong and people actually go from suffering to actual bloodshed. I hope it doesn't happen.
Deroy Murdock with us, Fox News contributor, nationally syndicated columnist. His piece on this in the Daily Signal: Democrats are the party of cruelty and sadism. It's very important, and you do this regularly in your writing and in our discussions here. Go back to the original purpose that the Democrats say that they're trying to accomplish with this action, and they're advocating against ICE on a policy point that is not anywhere near popular with the American people. The American people resoundingly elected Donald Trump, who told us exactly what he wanted to do with the people who were let into this country illegally, the people who have lived here and not gained legal status, not been here on a legal pretense. He said those people need to go. And America said, you're right, they do. They voted for him. And it's still a very, very popular position among the American people. I just don't see anywhere where this makes any sense for the Democrats and how it's going to parlay into something successful for them in November.
Well, what I think the Democrats always think long term, for better or worse, and I think they've look, if we can drag our feet and slow down the efforts to deport people, and out of the 8 million people who came into the country, invaded the country under Joe Biden when Democrats obliterated the border, let's say Trump managed to kick 3 million of them out, but 5 million of them stay. And they eventually down the road grow up and they have kids and they get amnesty, and all of a sudden you have these people who are grateful to the Democrat Party for this, and you've got 5 million people and their kids. Let's just make the round number 8-10 million people, and the Democrats can count on that as their ongoing maybe a generation long margin of victory. I think they'll say that's a victory. They'll think that's a win. So I think that's what this is all about. This is all about slowing down ICE, slowing down the deportations, throwing as much gravel into the machinery as they can to reduce the number or limit the number of people who are removed from the country who broke in here illegally. That includes, by the way, violent illegal alien criminals. We've seen time and again people who rob and rape and kill and bludgeon people. They get one break after another, and we try to kick them out, and they stand in the way, and they block them. And it's all about to keep as many of these people here as they can, hope that they're grateful to the Democrat Party, and these people become Democrat voters. And I think that's how they think they're going to hang on to power, which is truly evil and cynical. And the way they see it is, look, if that means some people have to wait in some long lines at airports, too bad for them. If that means some people lose their decent credit ratings, well, that's their problem. And if some people get raped or killed along the way, well, that's just collateral damage. I think that's how truly deeply cynical and horrible the Democrat Party has become.
Last question before we let you go, Deroy. Do you see an end to this? Is there any sensible path forward where are the Republicans going to capitulate to a certain extent? Are the Democrats going to have to cave? How does it end?
Well, I think the Democrats should cave. One thing that Republicans are not doing, and they should be doing, Eric Erickson made this point, and others have, where are the commercials? Where are the ads on this? I mean, maybe these ads are being shown in swing districts, and I live in Manhattan. Maybe I'm not seeing them, but almost always when there are ads like this, they pop up in articles, or you see them on news pieces on Fox News or what have you. They ought to be running TV ads nonstop, pointing out that this is the Schumer shutdown, not the Trump shutdown, that people who are violent illegal alien criminals. The idea is for ICE to boot these people. They're not there just to torture folks for fun and games, but to get people out of this country shouldn't be here. A, and B, they're committing violent crimes, even worse, and that this is what ICE is doing, and that's why. And that every day that goes by where DHS can't do that, their ability to do that sort of thing is hindered. Their ability to guard the coast is hindered. Their ability to make sure that people don't take bombs and weapons onto planes is hobbled. And there ought to be ads on this. Call Chuck Schumer and tell him to stop. And maybe those ads are running somewhere. I'm not seeing them. So, I think President Trump needs to call some of his billionaire friends, Elon Musk, whoever it is, and cough up some money and start running ads to remind the American people who's doing this, put the blame right where it should be, and make people pay serious consequences for this political sabotage. And that starts with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and the modern Democrat Party.
All right. Deroy Murdock, thank you for joining us today. I want to encourage people to read your piece in the Daily Signal. As usual, it's always well written and hits straight to the point. Thanks for being with us today. It's good to have you with us.
You bet, Annie. Great to be with you. Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Deroy Murdock is a Fox News contributor, a Project 21 ambassador, and a nationally syndicated columnist. We're always grateful to have him here on the show with us. When we come back in about 13 minutes, we're going to speak with Victoria Coates and get the Vice President of Heritage's Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for National Security and Foreign Policy to weigh in on the ceasefire as it stands right now. How is this agreement? Is it, as Carolyn Levitt said here, a fragile truce? Is that a positive spin on it? Is that an accurate explanation of it? Victoria Coates will give us her expert opinion in about 13 minutes from right now. The YouTube poll, we're asking you to weigh in at the youtube.com/@AnnieFrey YouTube poll in the live chat. How do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? Is it the art of the deal? Is it too soon to know, or does Trump always chicken out? Give you guys an opportunity to vote for your position there. And send us your text message thoughts on this, 314-241-9797. You can save that number in your phone. Just save it as Annie Frey text line, 314-241-9797. We'll highlight some of your thoughts on the poll question when we return. Don't go away. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. Call Matt Hayes. He's waiting for your phone call, 314-271-9900. Your basement leakage problem. You got water down there, and you know it, and you've cornered off that area, got the storage stuff out of the way. Maybe it's affected your finished part of your basement. Yikes. And you're just hoping it just doesn't get worse. You check the forecast, you see rains in the forecast, maybe consecutive days of rain in the forecast, and it ruins your whole week. You just fret about when that rain eventually comes. Get ahead of this problem once and for all. When you hire Home Shield Foundation Repair, you only got to fix it once. They're going to take care of that wet basement problem and restore your foundation, repair your foundation, so you don't have to have that pit in your stomach any longer. Call Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation at 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. They're online right now at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Annie Frey Show is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Just got done speaking with Deroy Murdock there. We've got Victoria Coates with Heritage Foundation, an expert on what is taking place over in Iran in this ceasefire. We'll find out what her thoughts are on this situation. I will cite the Carolyn Levitt press conference that we aired here. She referred to it as a fragile truce, and we'll see what Victoria Coates and her expertise feels about it in about 8 minutes from right now. We're asking you on the YouTube poll, how do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? It's the art of the deal, too soon to know, or Trump always chickens out. You can text us at 314-241-9797, your thoughts. Of course, you can vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Ryan, why don't you hit us some of the feedback from the audience?
This text says, don't forget, in recent history at deadline, it went by and nothing happened. Everybody thought Trump was backing out, and then 2 days later, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. You have the Iranian human chains across bridges. This would be a good way to avoid that, I think, is what that's saying. The next one says, they think partly it's art of the deal because this was well played. However, too soon to tell, simply because I don't completely trust that Iran isn't going to pull something before the 2 weeks is up.
Joe says on the YouTube, in the comment section on the YouTube channel, the Annie Frey YouTube channel, where you can go vote, art of the deal, of course, everything he does and says is with his end objective in mind. How is this not obvious? We've been hyper-fixated on everything Trump for a decade. We know this. Joe's basically saying, guys, come on. We know how the story ends. But listen, I will add that if you read Joe Concha's book, The Greatest Comeback Ever, you know how the story ends. And in the middle, you're like, oh, my God, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. It's
really?
It's the actual series of events that led up to Donald Trump's reelection. The fact that he won it's unbelievable.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is his first win was unbelievable.
The difference is that America... Let me put it this way. The people in this country who who want Trump to be the president right now didn't know that they wanted that then. They knew that they did not want Hillary Clinton. If there was ever a repudiation of a candidate in an election, the Hillary Clinton election, her loss there, I'm sure she has, I don't know if she knows this. Maybe she doesn't. She did write a book called What Happened? Russia happened, according to her. But if you pay attention to how that election materialized in 2016, it was essentially the entire country coming together like, I do not know about this guy, but heck no to that. Not going to happen. That was my vote. I wasn't a huge Trump person. He was, if there were, I feel like at one point there were 19 people in that primary. I was thinking maybe 16 to 19. He was my 19th pick in that primary. And he just kept knocking one off after the other. Maybe, I don't know. John Kasich might be the last. It could be. I don't know. But I did not like him. Didn't like his tone. I didn't like his rhetoric. I didn't like his bombastic nature. You know what? I do like results. And you know what? As a woman that I am not, is too emotional to appreciate and respect the results that this country is going to enjoy generationally because President Trump is the president, that when he says things that I don't like, I go, I don't like that. Thank God he's the president, though. And then I just move on with my day. And that was kind of my reaction yesterday, too. I've had several people come up to me and say, Annie, I'm glad you said that you didn't really love the Truth Social post where he talked about the death of a civilization. As if they needed to hear somebody else say it to feel like it was okay to think it. You can think whatever the heck you want. Please know that. Please know if you hear somebody who you normally agree with, even if it's in your personal life, but of course if it's in your political interest. If somebody who you support politically says something you don't like, you are free to say, don't like that, and still support that person. In fact, I would encourage you to say that. My support for Donald Trump has not waned. When he says stuff like that tweet, a death of a civilization, also asked in the press conference earlier, one of his tweets this weekend was, praise be to Allah. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
At the end of a True Social post? Didn't like that.
I'm surprised I haven't even heard about that.
Not a fan of that. Donald Trump doesn't care if I'm a fan of it or not. And I respect that about him even more. That he's not, so affected by the wind change of the politically polled words and poll-tested nonsense that goes on. He has a principle, and he drives straight towards it. And if he's got to drive through a few obstacles that are put in front of him, he's got no problem doing with it. In fact, he's like, bring it on. I respect that.
It's very true. The one thing that surprised me, so yesterday he gave his press conference, but before his press conference, it was yesterday, wasn't it? That he gave that long press conference? Yeah, that was yesterday.
Monday.
Okay. Well, before that, he
I
stood
don't really
out.
know.
I know, and he stood out in front of, the band that was playing. It was Monday because it was.
I thought it was Monday.
That was that, and it was like the Easter.
Oh yeah,
Monday
it was Easter
band.
Monday, and he got to have an hour and a half of our show, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, and
now I remember.
He did like 15 minutes with the press before the press conference
At the Easter egg roll, with some jazz in the background.
At the Easter egg roll, exactly. And during that, he said a few times, this is something that the American people don't want. We don't want to be in a prolonged war. They don't want it. I'd love to do it, but they don't want it. He kept saying that. It was one of the first times I'd ever heard him say, well, I have my desire, but I'm going to do what I think the American people are wanting here. Because most of the time, you're right. He just is saying, I know what's right. I'm going to do that.
Well, but I think what he's saying there is what is right is what the American people want.
I was okay with it. It was just not what he usually says.
The YouTube poll, how do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? You think it's the art of the deal? You think it's too soon to know, or Trump always chickens out? You got an opportunity to vote for any of those three. And your comments after you go field that vote on the live broadcast on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, leave a comment there. But we really love your texts on the Annie Frey Show text line, 314-241-9797. Send them this way. Victoria Coates with the Heritage Foundation, former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Donald Trump. She's going to be with us next to talk about her reaction to the 2-week ceasefire deal, the fragile truce, if you will. Victoria Coates next. aircomfortservice.com. I'm going to talk to you a lot about how Air Comfort Service has come into my home. We have a new, she's a couple years old now, furnace, air conditioner, water heater, all taken care of by Air Comfort Service. I trust these people. They're so great. They're very good at what they do. They have the best products that are out there. They're always looking for ways to make the process of HVAC maintenance or replacement more comfortable. One time, Corey Malone of Air Comfort Service, he's like, I know that nobody is like pumped to call the HVAC people. When your furnace, your air conditioner goes out, you're not like, oh, sweet, I get a new AC. Nobody does that. If you're a commercial business, if you've got a commercial building, if you run an office and you know that your AC is not doing what it needs to do, I encourage you to trust Air Comfort Service with your commercial repairs as well. 314-513-0091, 314-513-0091. Call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation and get a free second opinion on heat exchanger and compressor repairs. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Frey, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, as they show you how to create a worry-free retirement. It's Tuesday, April 28th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and would like to know how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the investment strategy that gives you market growth while avoiding the market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get your free personalized retirement income plan? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and have a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw. It's at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Quality Automation Engineer, SDET, for Equifax Incorporated in St. Louis, Missouri, to participate in designing and building test automation frameworks and coding automated test suites. Requires master's degree in computer science, management information systems, information technology, electrical engineering, or related, willing to accept for an education equivalent, plus 1 year of experience as a quality automation engineer, SDET, or related occupation in software quality assurance automation or as a software development engineer in test, SDET, or alternatively, a bachelor's degree in computer science, management information systems, information technology, electrical engineering, or related field willing to accept for an education equivalent, plus 3 years of experience as a quality automation engineer, or related occupation in software quality assurance automation or as a software development engineer in test, SDET. Email resume to jobs.opportunities@equifax.com. Reference position number 501267.
Sometimes it seems all lawmakers do is tax and spend. That's why Missouri voters passed the Hancock Amendment in 1980 to place a limit on what the government can do with your money. But the Hancock Amendment is outdated. It hasn't provided a taxpayer refund since 1999 and probably won't without reform. That's why Missouri needs a taxpayer Bill of Rights. Colorado has one, and taxpayers there have received more than $8 billion in refunds. It's simple. There should be limits on government spending and refunds when there's a surplus in the state budget. A taxpayer Bill of Rights constitutional amendment would help limit the growth of government. Missouri's budget has nearly doubled in the past 5 years, yet the state lags far behind states like Colorado in economic growth. The Hancock Amendment was supposed to protect taxpayers. Now it's time for an update and a taxpayer Bill of Rights. After all, it's your money. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Men. Need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
From Collinsville to Chesterfield, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I would strongly advise the media against running with narratives that have no basis in fact. What Iran says publicly or feeds to all of you in the press is much different than what they communicate to the United States, the president, and his team privately. Never underestimate President Trump's ability to successfully advance America's interests and broker peace.
Carolyn Levitt today from the press room talking about what has been circulating a lot. I don't know, not even the last 24 hours, probably the last 15 hours of here's what Iran is demanding in this ceasefire stuff. Carolyn Levitt was like, just don't think that what you get from Iran in social media is the same thing that is happening between discussions of the Trump administration and whomever happens to be in charge over in Iran right now. Let's get to our guest. Victoria Coates joins us once again, former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Donald Trump and Vice President of Heritage's Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for National Security and Foreign Policy. Victoria, thank you for being with us today. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Of course, Annie. Good to hear your voice.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I just wanted to get your initial reaction. I've been watching a lot of your coverage on Fox News. You've been there quite a bit, and listening to what you've been saying throughout the course of this process. 8 p.m. deadline last night passes with some negotiation and a negotiated ceasefire. And I just want to know, Victoria, just from the top here, your immediate reaction to the deal that is here now on the table.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, the president really ratcheted up his rhetoric over the last 36 hours, I think getting the attention of whoever's in charge of Iran at this point, that he's serious, he wants the Strait of Hormuz open, and that they're not going to get massive concessions. Now, I agree with Caroline Levitt. They're going to say all sorts of things about, their maximalist demands, but the fact of the matter is, they know we can come back and start bombing them again anytime we want, and there's nothing they can do about it. The one F-15 they shot down notwithstanding. So I think there's a kind of reality check that's going on here. And the other issue, Annie, is that at some point, Iran needs to start opening back up again. If we have a ceasefire, they can restart the internet for their people. They can start to have normal commercial activity, which they haven't had for more than a month. And they don't seem in any hurry to do that. So I'm very curious to see if the day after is actually worse for the regime than it is for anybody else.
Victoria Coates speaking with us right now. If you can tell us what we do know, my understanding is we have very little information about what it's like right now for the Iranian people because they're cut off from the rest of the world with, as you mentioned there, the lack of internet access. A month is a really long time to live in the circumstances that they have been under there. I hear the president say to the Iranian people, stay inside, stay where it's safe. What is it like to be an Iranian right now in that country?
No, apparently it's completely crazy. It's been more than 5 weeks, and since the beginning of the internet, we haven't seen this, where a modern economy is shut down for more than a month. There were articles in the BBC in early February about the couple days shutdown they had in January and how devastating that was to their economy. So what does 5 weeks do to your economy? Apparently all the ATMs are empty. The currency is essentially worthless. And the minute you start turning on the normal kind of mechanisms of commerce, I think the capital flight out of Iran is going to be dramatic. And so you have a pending economic meltdown. And the other thing that happened today is the Qataris went to the United Nations and said they wanted to lodge an official complaint against the Iranians for damaging their natural gas field, that they are economically viable. Liable rather, they're the ones who have to pay for that. And, they don't have any money to do that. The UAE made some similar noises. So now are we going to see all the Gulfies who might have been inclined to help Iran a couple of months ago now essentially suing Iran into non-existence?
Well, talk to me about the geopolitical shift that has taken. It feels like this was an instance where President Trump took all of the friendships, allyships, partnerships, toleratorships, whatever it might be, dumped it all on the table and said, let's reconsider everything right now. Are there new alliances forming? Are alliances falling apart?
I think there are both. I think this is a moment for a huge reassessment. I mean, starters, the Strait of Hormuz everybody's talking about, most important waterway in the world. I actually disagree with that. I think the most important waterway in the world is the Panama Canal from the U.S. perspective. But no denying that Strait of Hormuz is very, very important. However, we're now looking at this and saying, why is the United States the guarantor for the security coming out of the strait? Why isn't it China or India or somebody else who wants that product? Why does it fall on our shoulders? And then what are our alternatives? Can we do pipelines? It turns out, yes, we can. For pretty much everything but fertilizer that comes out of there, you can do pipelines to get it out. So that's one huge reassessment. The second is going to have to be NATO. What happened with our NATO allies? The biggest economies in NATO, the top 10, countries like Germany, the United Kingdom, France, Spain, Italy, were they there for us? No, they were not. So what you might call New Europe, countries like Poland, Romania, the Baltics, they were there for us. They did help us. But old Europe did not. And so Mark Rutte is at the White House as we speak, having the Secretary General of NATO. I think they're having a really challenging conversation about what the United States is willing to do with NATO going forward. And that's not because Donald Trump said, I want to get out of NATO. That's because NATO said, we will not help you, United States. Not only will we not help you, we won't let you use the bases you built in our countries for this very just action that you're taking.
Victoria Coates speaking with us right now with the Heritage Foundation. Let me ask you a big, broad question. You can take this wherever you want. But what kind of financial investments has America? And we all know that when America makes financial investments in things, the people that are like me and you and listening to the show right now, the money comes from them. The government doesn't make money. They take money and they spend money. So what kind of financial investments have the American people made with our allies across the world? You just talked about bases that we built. I don't think that that's a message that's been talked about enough for the American people to understand just how much skin we, average Joes and Janes, right here in the middle of the country and across the states, what kind of investments we've made that are being rebuffed and told, no, you can't even use that right now.
Right, and I would focus on Europe because it's a different situation in the Indo-Pacific. But in Europe, after World War II, so we're talking 80 years ago, when Europe was devastated, and that we put together these basing systems, we put together the Marshall Plan to rebuild them, and then we stationed large numbers, tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of our troops in these countries. And so you have a country like Germany, which is now the largest economy in the EU. Now the UK is out of the EU for however long. They will come to you with tears in their eyes and say, a top 5 economy in the world. And so you can't pull those troops out of Germany. Our economy depends on it because they come and they live there and they spend money there and they rent houses and they buy cars and they do all these things. We need them. I'm sorry. This isn't a welfare program for Germany. That our soldiers would be there. And if Europe wasn't capable of pulling itself together to defend against Russia in the biggest land war since World War II, which would be Ukraine, and they are begging us for help on that, and then the minute we need our help, if they had come out and said, you know what, we're going to take over Ukraine. We're not going to ask you for any more money on Ukraine. You guys are busy in the Middle East. I would have been fine with that, but they didn't say that. What they said was, please don't look away from Ukraine, Mr. President, while we don't help you with Iran. So this is, has been a valuable investment historically for the United States taxpayer. I think NATO has been a very valuable alliance, but we have to question where it is in 2026 if this is their attitude now.
Yeah. In my mind, I look at it like the EU, these allies have become fat and happy, living off of being benefactors from American success and wealth that have invested in an obvious interest in stability in that region, of course, but the atrophy over the course of time of not having to be challenged or held accountable from administrations that really pendulum swing back and forth on these particular issues. Anytime you become too fat and too happy, you have to first face the music. You have to understand what's really going on, and then you can make a decision as to what to do next to get trim and happy. Do you feel like President Trump has the ability to communicate that and to get our European allies that aren't being too friendly with us right now to make them come around, or will it take a new administration in those countries to get to that point?
It may be a both. So I think he's really going to encourage them. And one of the things that's really important is the combination of the EU and the United Kingdom budget, or gross domestic products, GDP, is very close to where the United States is, north of $25 trillion a year. China's around 19. So if we combine with them, we are in a great place, just economically. We have a tremendous amount of leverage over China because Russia's 2. So, that doesn't really help them. But the problem is what Europe has been doing for the last 20 years is basing their financial policy on, as you were just saying, cheap American security, then cheap Russian gas, and cheap goods from China. And if they have those three legs of the stool, they're able to spend a ton of money on Green New Deal fantasies, on welfare states, which is what they've can just completely condemn themselves to. And I think what President Trump is saying is, no, those days are done. And you either pull yourselves together, and we would be happy to partner with you because that economic leverage is so incredible. But if Europe's not rebuilt now after World War II, 80 years on, they're not going to be rebuilt. So we don't need to be providing that anymore. They need to be able to stand on their own. And I think those are hard conversations that he's having with the current leadership. But then we do have a rising generation of new leaders in Europe, people like Nigel Farage, for example, in the United Kingdom, Santiago Abascal in Spain, Giorgia Meloni, who's in place in Italy, doing much better than the others. So if we can see some political shifts in Europe, I think that could be very beneficial.
Victoria Coates speaking with us with the Heritage Foundation. So on the ceasefire, last night I put together a live stream and get everything ready for the show the next day. And my headline was Trump secures ceasefire ? Because I wasn't 100% that it would still be the case by the time we went live at noon. How do you feel about the fragility of this moment and the ceasefire? By the end of the week, are we going to be talking about something very different, or do you think we're headed on the correct path, at least slowly?
It's entirely possible, but I would say the big shift were over the course of the last 36 hours, the Iranians went from refusing to talk, can't possibly do a deal, don't want to cease fire, don't want to have any kind of conversation with the Americans, to suddenly they do want to talk to the Americans, and they do have a 10-point plan. I mean, it's a bad plan, but they have it. And they do want to cease fire. So that is the big shift here. They're the ones who blinked. The president has always had this on offer. They finally took it. So we'll see. They have a very challenging atmosphere in terms of their communications, because they don't want to use their cell phones because they think the Israelis, not wrongly, that the Israelis are going to come blow them up if they use their cell phones or communicate in any kind of a normal way. So what they're saying is that the lower downs are still operating on remote guidance given several months ago, that they should continue to attack countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and UAE. So that's kind of what's playing out right now. The Iranians are also demanding the Israelis stop strikes on Lebanon. That has nothing to do with this issue. And so it shouldn't be part of it. That is part of Israeli security and not part of the Iran issue. And unless Iran wants to claim Hezbollah as essentially an extension of their state, which they haven't been willing to do yet, although it would be more honest. So we'll see. This can be a very challenging couple of days. Here we are. We're not doing additional bombing campaigns at the moment, but we're keeping everybody there. And the president and the vice president have been very clear about that. Secretary Hegseth said today, we're going to be hanging around. We're going to hold in place for the moment. We'll see how things go. And if we need to move forward, we will. And so that threat is real. And hopefully it encourages them to better behavior.
Last question before we let you go. We're speaking with Victoria Coates. There's a lot of criticism in the press room about President Trump's rhetoric, and Carolyn Levitt continuously goes, look at his action, look at like the end result of everything he's put into got us to a point where we're talking about ceasefire now. Is President Trump's rhetoric helpful in getting positive outcomes with action?
I would say overall it is. And having been dealing with the man now for over a decade, the number of times folks race to whatever platform to say, Trump has gone too far. Really? Do you think? Did he go too far 10 years ago? Did he go too far 2 weeks ago? No, this is what he does. And agree, look at his actions, look at what he's doing, and look at the results that he gets when he employs this. And he doesn't do it all the time. It's a card that he plays when he's at what he considers to be the end stage of a negotiation, wants to get to a deal. He's going to be pretty tough. And he wrote a book about it. It's called The Art of the Deal.
Yeah,
read it if
we
you
have the
want to
game
know
plan.
how this works. This isn't a secret.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Victoria Coates, it's a real great pleasure to have you on with us today. We hope you'll come back. We feel like the story won't be wrapped up immediately, so if you will come back again, we'd love to have you.
Of course. Thank you, Annie.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye. Victoria Coates, Vice President of Heritage Foundation's Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for National Security and Foreign Policy. Also, the former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Donald Trump. Quick break. Let's take a break. Go vote in the poll. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Don't go away. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. I was talking to you about those wet basement issues that you might be facing. Also, as you're getting ready for the outdoorsy time of the year where you're going to be spending time on your patio, around your pool. Maybe it's your driveway that has caused, your concrete has shifted a little bit. It cracks, it shifts. You've got trip hazards now. Those are liabilities. All those foundation repair concerns that you have, whether it be that wet basement as we get into the rainy season that's got you nervous, uneven concrete, they're different repairs, they're different problems, but you've got one phone number to call, 314-271-9900, including that foundation in your home if you've noticed some cracks in the walls. Some of that paint has started to separate. Maybe it's gotten worse in the plaster. You have a settling issue that may need some immediate attention. Maybe it needs future attention, but you do need to make a single phone call to Home Shield Foundation Repair at 314-271-9900, HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholz of Kaufman Townsley, and here's one of our clients.
The team at Kaufman Townsley really goes above and beyond to take care of their clients and secure them the justice they deserve.
Injured? Call 314-777-7777.
Men. Need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Just a reminder that the one and only Jimmy Fela is going to be in town at the factory in Chesterfield this Saturday, April 11th. The doors will open at 7 o'clock. The show is at 8 o'clock. All ages are welcome to this show. Bet you didn't know that. All ages show for Jimmy Fela. You can still get tickets at 971talk.com/events if you'd like to join us on Saturday. It is 1:52. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We were going to do Wiggins America here, but I don't know that 3 minutes is enough for you to do all of the quality broadcasting in one segment that you really deserve.
I could do a ton of non-quality broadcasting in 3 minutes.
No, I want you to stretch it out and do the non-quality stuff in the 2 o'clock hour.
Oh, okay.
That's where people expect it.
Yeah, let's phone it in.
Yeah, you know how we like really lower the bar in the 2 o'clock hour?
We absolutely do. Yeah, it's my favorite hour because there is no expectation.
No standards.
No standards. It's really terrible.
What? Give us a professional broadcasting tease of what's in store for Wiggins America.
There are ways in which people break unwritten rules in the office.
This sounds exactly like a list of your daily activities.
You don't know that yet. You're going to hear it through quality broadcasting in the 2 o'clock hour.
Are you going to be on KMOX?
Possibly. No, this is content that we made for the 12 o'clock hour. So it's still quality.
Oh.
We're just putting it into the 2 o'clock hour where it doesn't belong.
We're trying something new.
Right, because Carolyn Levitt bumped us. So we're trying, we're going to do Wiggins America on the 2 o'clock hour, and we're going to tell you all the things that you might be doing that you don't know your coworkers hate.
Office rules that should never be broken.
Yes. We've covered a couple of these in the past, but never such an exhaustive list as this.
I'm going to scoop you. I'm going to guess some.
Go ahead.
Smelly lunches.
Can't confirm, but that's probably number one.
Office rules that should never be broken. Smelly lunches. Playing sound at your desk that other people can hear.
It's a very good one. I'll write that down. I don't think it's on this list.
Another one I'll say is talking and lingering too much when work needs to be done.
It's another good one.
Like read the room kind of thing.
Yeah, not on the list.
Another one is trying out your comedy material on your coworkers and.
Go ahead. Keep going. Because that sounded to me like you were trying out some comedy material.
These sound
no, I'm at work, and this is my office.
This is what you do?
This is what I do. Not comedy.
Yeah, well, we'll add that one to the list for sure.
Let me think what else. What about if you have a bad body odor?
Ooh, can neither confirm nor deny. That might be on the list.
Mm-hmm. Bad hygiene.
There's
Bringing
some
bad
really good
hygiene
ones
in the office.
There's some really good ones that everybody will agree with. But if you're that person, I wonder if you know you're that person.
I told him that he needs to up his game on the sources of things he brings to Wiggins America. There's this website called Your Tango.
Yeah.
And I get served these articles all the time, and I click on them at least a third of the time because I'm in the good headline writing at Your Tango, and the lists that they provide are so vague and dumb.
Yeah.
It's just like content. They just want my click, and I'm like, I don't want to give you my click. I click on it, I'm like, is this Your Tango? And then I find out you're in that algo too, and I don't understand that.
It's good stuff sometimes.
But this isn't.
This is not that.
This is from the reputable
New York Post.
New York Post. Gosh, we've set the bar incredibly high, at least for your segment. Next.
Yeah.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Here's something I run into a lot with younger homeowners, and happened to be with my little boy. He was looking at purchasing homes. This house had a 20-plus-year-old furnace and air conditioner. And, of course, my advice was never buy a house with that old of an air conditioner. You will be buying a new one. And he goes, well, how much does a new one cost? For his size home, told him figure tens of thousands to over $20,000. If you're looking at a house, my personal opinion is make sure it's a newer unit. If not, request buyers to put in a newer unit. That makes it easier on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
The White House calls it victory. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The world has just witnessed a historically swift and successful military triumph.
Though the Trump administration is also acknowledging it may take time to fully implement the ceasefire with Iran announced yesterday.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt described the two-week ceasefire as fragile.
I would caution a little bit of patience, but of course we want to see the ceasefire effectuated and abided by all parties as quickly as possible.
Iran says it has again closed the Strait of Hormuz, a response to Israel continuing attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon. But Leavitt says Israel's actions there were never part of the ceasefire with Iran.
That has been relayed to all parties involved in the ceasefire.
Vice President J.D. Vance will lead an American delegation for negotiations with Iran over the weekend, hosted in Pakistan.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Meantime, the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, is in Washington, set to meet with the president about his recent suggestion the U.S. should withdraw from the alliance.
Rutte is coming here to make the case directly to President Trump that he should not pursue, that he should not try to put the U.S. on this path towards pulling out of NATO, which would officially require 2/3 of the Senate or an act of Congress. But of course, President Trump could also just declare that it is his intent.
Fox's Peter Doocy at the White House. The president's been critical of NATO on multiple issues, most recently lack of support for Operation Epic Fury. A woman who admits selling the drugs that killed Friends star Matthew Perry, just sentenced to 15 years in prison. 42-year-old Jasmine Singha, known as the ketamine queen in court filings, is the third of 5 people to be sentenced after pleading guilty in connection with Perry's overdose death. Perry had been using ketamine as an off-label treatment of depression before turning to others for a higher dose than his doctor would give him. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though. I'm freaking out. Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The southerly flow is back. That's why we've warmed up nicely. 75 for the high this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine. Clear skies, breezy from the south. 54 on Thursday. Sunny. Let's call it a warm day. 78 in the afternoon. Increasing clouds Thursday night with scattered showers and some thunderstorms around on Friday. 73. Not raining all the time. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. That ceasefire is in place, and we're all watching to see what happens next. The White House is saying that they're seeing an uptick of traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, which seems to really be kind of the epicenter of where action needs to be taking place as the ceasefire does commence. So we're going to continue to follow that here on 97.1 FM Talk throughout the course of any breaking news that might happen. The YouTube live chat poll, the Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll for today. How do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? Is it the art of the deal? You think it's too soon to know, or Trump always chickens out? Our text line is always open for you. We love your feedback there, certainly on the poll, but on whatever we're talking about during the show. So you can text us at 314-241-9797 about how you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire. Ryan, what do we got in the text line right now?
This one says, I'm okay with the ceasefire. It gives a little more justification for Operation Stone Age if they blank it up. It doesn't say blank.
I was going to say.
The next one says, as a Marine veteran and retired law enforcement officer, I applaud President Trump for valuing human life and providing all chances of peace and opportunity for peace, especially since losing friends in Marine barracks bombings and 2 relatives. He goes into a little bit of personal history there, losing somebody in 9/11. He says all Iranian terrorists should be taken out still.
I really appreciate hearing from people who have served, especially in the global war on terror, about their thoughts on this whole situation. I talked with Katie Pavlich earlier this week about something that she had reposted on X, and it was talking about how many people who served in the global war on terror look at this as an extension, a natural, hopefully, end chapter in what they were dealing with maybe decades ago. And that Iran being the epicenter of terrorism, where terrorism flows from. If you're fighting in the global war on terror and the terrorism is being funded, trained, and essentially manufactured out of Iran, that somebody showing up and saying enough, just absolutely enough, period. You know, that is something that is an extension on what we've been dealing with quite some time. Joe Biden tried to like snipe the political win on that by just leaving Afghanistan.
Oh my gosh.
He was going for the political feather in his cap just by pulling out of Afghanistan, and then they paraded it around. He talked about that like it was one of the great accomplishments of his administration, and it's one of the lowest points of his administration, if not obviously the lowest point of his administration. It's funny because that was something he did for political gain, to heck with the principle of the matter. And this is something that, in my opinion, and I know some of you listening completely disagree with it, I respect that, this moment is something that President Trump is doing from a principled standpoint, to heck with the political ramifications for it in the meantime.
Okay, it's interesting you say that because this text just came through as well. It says the taco chants from the left, which if you don't know what that means Trump always chickens out. The taco chants from the left are just laughable. I'd take a guy like Trump who recalibrates for the best results over a politician who consistently doubles down for the sake of ideology. They're saying they're glad that he's constantly recalibrating things.
Yeah. Well, keep sending your thoughts to us in the text line, 314-241-9797. And, of course, go vote in the poll that's on our live broadcast, youtube.com/Annie Frey. Just go to YouTube on your app, your phone, your TV. You can watch us on your TV from the YouTube app. Type in Annie Frey. You'll see where we're broadcasting right now. Let's get to Wiggins America.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
Yeah, here we go. These are office rules that you should never break. And if you heard the end of the last hour, Annie started guessing. Actually, she got a couple of these right.
I wonder if there could be a sitcom that is The Office meets The West Wing, where it's the White House, but from just like the fancy people aren't really in the. I would make them faceless, but it's the bones of the operation, the people who are there, who are pushing paper and all that. But like the office.
It's okay. So it's the lower level staffers in the White House.
I wouldn't say lower level. I would say the gears that make our country function.
Because when you said faceless, I thought you're going to have to make this also Twilight Zone.
No, faceless, just blurred. No,
these are faceless people.
Go to such a great extent to take the fancy, the president, the secretary, like all the people that you do pomp and circumstance around.
Yeah.
They can't be a part of it at all.
They show up once in a great while to just push plot forward.
But only, like, you only see the back of them. You never even see the front of them.
Like Steinbrenner.
Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah, exactly like Steinbrenner.
That would be great.
Yeah.
But it's The Office.
Yeah. You know what's funny? They didn't quite make that exact series, but Doctor Who fans will know some of the offshoots to the Doctor Who shows, they've been about some of the companions and people who just experienced Doctor Who walking through once in a while, and they're like, what's up with this guy? And the whole series is about them kind of tracing him down, trying to find this elusive character.
I'd want it to be a smart comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot you could make fun of.
Yeah, it's a great plot.
Write it.
No thanks.
I'll take 10%.
Now I really don't want to do it.
Fine, 12.
Done. All right, these are the things
we'll
you
put
should
that
not...
in exchange in the show, and you'll be a Democrat.
These are things you should not do in the office. Rules you should not break. You already got the first one, and we've talked about this one before.
Smelly food?
Smelly food, specifically reheating fish for lunch.
Or just heating fish.
Heating fish at all.
No
I've
fish.
learned this by doing it.
How many times? Don't you kind of think that the statute of limitations in the last fish endeavor have worn out, so you're willing to try it again?
No, I'm not, but that takes a year. And I think I've done it within the last 12 months, because it's about every year that I find some different angle and I go, well, this wasn't the same as that, so I could try this.
No fish in the office.
What about, since we
No.
have a full oven, what if you baked fish? And it didn't smell as much?
Look at me in the eyes. No fish in the office.
What about Long John Silver's? And you just brought it in from outside.
No fish in the office.
You can't even get Captain D's?
I'm not leaving any room in the margins
You're
for
not
you.
heating it up.
No.
You're just bringing it in.
It won't matter what the exception is. You will take it and say, well, I thought if you were okay with this, that you'd be okay with that. And then everybody will be like, he did it again.
Did I tell you that I got White Castle about 3 or 4 weeks ago?
How'd that go?
And I threw it away in our office, which is, my office is also Mark Cox's office. And I guess the janitor was sick that day and didn't come. And so he got there the next morning and was like, oh no, what happened
Liver
in
and
here?
onions in the...
It was, it was a day old.
Smelly food, don't do it in the
bag.
office. Everybody will talk about you behind your back and to your face.
Gosh, there's got to be a way to eat salmon or something without heating it up, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Somewhere else. That's how
Okay.
you do it. You go sit in your car, let that thing stink up like a fishbowl.
Fine, I will.
Okay.
Uncooked salmon is still a problem, though, really?
No gray area with you. There are people here who I would permit gray area. Not you.
I'm going to launder it through those people.
10%?
12.
Done.
The next one you also guessed. It is personal hygiene.
Yeah.
If there's somebody in the office who just smells bad, that's going to be a problem. The advice is, quote, be clean, be aware of how you smell, armpits, feet, butt, and breath.
I think you're going to say breasts.
No, breath.
Boob sweat.
Speaking of which,
Hi,
Ethan's
Ethan.
coming in.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Great. You know the topic or no? Okay.
Boob sweat.
Yep, boob sweat.
I'm talking about the men.
Having to break it to your coworker that they have an unpleasant aroma is an upsetting conversation, the article adds.
Would you have that conversation?
I don't know how. I would have to know the person and know how to approach that person.
Does that mean you haven't had that conversation?
Nobody's had that conversation with me, if that's what you're asking.
No, I'm asking, have you ever talked to anyone about like that they smell or anything
Hygiene.
at work?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Have you?
No.
Okay.
But I feel like if anyone here would, it'd be you. So that's why
Well, I would be the one people send to talk to the guy. Or
That's
girl.
Ryan,
not. That's
can we
not
talk to you
true.
for a second?
That's not true. You would not be that person.
Why?
Because you'd make it super weird.
Yeah, I would make it weird, and then it would be about the weird thing, and it'd be like funny.
Be like,
No, because it's a sensitive issue that needs to be handled carefully out of concern for the other human involved.
Do you send in HR?
No, I think you send in the person who that person would react to the best. I think it's.
What if it's the same people that you would bring you in, like if you were getting fired? That is, they just tell you and you think you're getting
Right.
fired. It's like
You're like,
Friday at 3 o'clock.
I lose my
hey.
job, but I just smell
You
bad.
smell really bad. And you're like,
Feels like a win.
oh.
Yeah, right. You set it up like they're getting
Yeah.
fired, and then it's like, oh, that's actually not too bad. I just smell bad.
Maybe that's the way you should go about that.
How about negative Nancy's? That's the next one.
Lord have mercy.
Not complaining is a superpower. Seriously, says this article. Nothing will make you unpopular faster than complaining all the time, even if it's justified.
Nobody goes around and talks about how great work is. You know, we have our business here. If you're a nurse and you work with a bunch of nurses, you know all the complaints about all the doctors, all of the different kinds of patients, whatever. You've got your things. If you work in a Valvoline instant oil change, you know all the complaints that they have there about everything. Everybody has their complaints. Very few people, you probably work for yourself. Very few people go to work in an office organization and not know all the jokes about the things that, air quotes, suck around. Especially if you can't do anything to fix it, it's not the best way to build camaraderie. It's a huge downer, and it doesn't make people want to come back to work and produce the next day's worth of service goods or whatever it might be when everything is always negative. I'm complaining about these people. How do you feel about it?
I see.
It's a little
Being
meta.
pretty negative about the negative people.
Isn't it bringing the room down?
I know. I feel like, maybe look in a mirror.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking at my camera right now, and that's when I was like, ruh-roh, George.
Here's a weird
Screwed
one.
that one up.
So these are office faux pas. Beware of overachieving, lest you will be given all the work. That's what the article says.
Yeah, you won't make friends that way either.
You won't, especially if you go against the grain and you're overworking everybody else.
There's a difference between overachieving and just doing it, so that it really depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
How much of what you do, how much of your investment in your job, in your production in your job, are other people relying on you to do so that they can do their job. So if you in our show right here, we kind of are all in on our show, and we're running as fast as we can and hoping that we do well here. But there are a lot of people in this building that are doing the same thing in their own little units, and we're all trying to individually succeed next to each other. But if we decide to overachieve here, I think the problem is overachievers who are like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how good I am, all of the things that I'm accomplishing, the people who need to be acknowledged a lot for those achievements. That is, I think where overachievement gets a little annoying, but I'm for you should produce as much as you can possibly produce.
The last couple here really quick. One is if you are in a position to schedule meetings, don't do so first thing on a Monday or last thing on a Friday. Everybody will hate
unless
you.
it's your last meeting.
Yeah. And last, you actually did hit this one, not exactly in the same way. This is talking about unnecessary sound coming out of your either computer or office in the form of meetings. But I would expand that to be anything.
I actually would think meetings would be more okay, but if you're listening to music at your desk while you work, cool, put it in the headphones. But
that's right.
If you shouldn't have sound bleed into other people's spaces because you wouldn't like that back.
Would this include if you're on, for example, a Zoom meeting, Google meeting, and you leave yourself unmuted and someone's talking? And would you consider that the same being virtual?
I don't know why you'd leave yourself unmuted.
That happens though.
Yeah, but you're going to get muted by the host. Any self-respecting Zoom host is going to be like, mute.
I think it looks
No,
so bad.
what this is saying is
embarrassing, yeah.
nobody around you wants to hear your meeting. They know they'll have to hear you talk, but they don't want to hear either the rest of the people in your meeting talking, or they don't want to hear your webinar that you're in, or whatever it is, your company training. Put your earphones in. That's what it's saying.
Earphones, you just made yourself sound really old.
I just said it because Annie said earphones. The article said headset.
Shots fired.
That's even worse. That's even worse.
So there you go.
Why are earbuds so difficult? Or headphones, or whatever it is that you want to put on. We in 2026 should be ahead of the game of understanding you can take sound and entertainment and work. You can take it with you anywhere you go. Put it in it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for anybody else. Why is that hard?
You know, I think most people do this though. It's the very small portion of people who don't.
Not enough of them.
That make it look bad.
Which makes it so annoying because it is such a small amount of people. Almost everyone gets it. And then there's those handful that don't. And you're like,
what's the
dude,
appropriate
what
reaction?
are you doing?
Can you call those people out?
3:00 meeting on a Friday. That's the appropriate reaction.
The way
Just
on a plane,
for the noise bleeders, get in here, 8 a.m. Monday.
Listen, you smell and you play your music out loud.
And I didn't want to tell you
You're
you
fired
smelled
as a
until you
result.
let your music play loud. Now I want to tell you.
But is it that they don't get it, or is it that they don't care?
I don't know.
I think most of the time they don't get it.
You know what
Yeah,
drives
I
me
do too.
crazy though is when it's on a plane, and most of the time it's a kid whose parent is sitting right next to them, either doing nothing or has earphones in
Playing
themselves.
an obnoxious game super loud.
I hate the kid that's sitting next to the parent. I hate the parent. I don't hate the kid, but I hate the situation where the kid is sitting there with it on full bore.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's too loud for even them and their little ears. It's on full bore, and the parents are just okay with it.
Yeah. You have to talk to the flight attendant at that point, unless they're right next to you and you can say something.
Will you talk to the flight attendant?
Oh, I have before.
What do you say?
I say, sound, and then I just point at it.
You
and
just
they're
go,
like, oh, okay. Yeah, I go, I just growl.
You sound just like him.
I know.
Yeah, they respond well to that.
Do they go back like, is that how they talk back to you?
Excuse me, that gentleman back there wanted to communicate rah, 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 rah.
When you tell on them and the people have to turn it down, are they like, oh, I'm sorry. Or are they offended?
No, they're sort of bothered that you bothered them, even though they're literally bothering
I do
everybody.
feel like airplane noise bleeders don't care. Out in the open, when you're sitting at the doctor's office, you talked about that story recently, especially, I mean, there's an age where you graduate into, I don't think they know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true. And that was my situation because she did not know.
Honey, can I help you with that? Let me show you this button here. You
like,
see,
bless your
there's
heart,
one that's
sweet
on the
dear.
top and the one on the bottom. You just push that one on the bottom a little bit, and you're good. Read the captions.
In that exact voice.
The higher I
Minnie
get, the
Mouse.
more I'm like, Ethan, sports and local next on the Annie Frey Show. Welcome back. Don't go away.
The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower costs than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you. not the government.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Take your lawn from good to great with my friends at Lawn Enforcement. I'm talking expert lawn care services to keep your lawn in order. And here's what they'll do for you. Anybody can mow your grass. At Lawn Enforcement, they want to enhance your property. They'll do the mowing and the trimming. They'll fertilize and implement a weed control program and erosion control, which includes retaining walls if you need it. They can landscape. They can design and install your flowers, your shrubs, your trees, all of your hardscapes. No project is too big or too small for my friends at Lawn Enforcement. You can check them out online at yourlawnenforcement.com. So instead of envying your neighbor's lawn, your neighbors are going to be wishing they had the lawn and landscape that you have. Go ahead and enjoy your space. Be proud when you entertain your friends and your family. They've been in business for over 30 years. Be sure and tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to yourlawnenforcement.com.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to Settlements and Verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesiderd.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hold up. Check it out.
Sports and local.
Ethan's Nice Piece.
Sponsored by All Financial.
Say it.
I said it. All right. Welcome back to me.
Welcome back, Ethan. Woohoo. Where you been? The sun?
Yeah. What do you think?
You look good
Scale
on the camera.
Of 1 to 10, this sunburn.
I am somebody who has experienced many sunburns in my life, and I assume as a strawberry blonde-headed individual yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That you probably have as well.
Mm-hmm. I certainly have.
It looks painful, but I actually don't think that I think it probably feels worse than it looks. Is that possible?
I think it looks worse than it feels.
You do?
It doesn't feel that bad, honestly.
Okay.
No, I feel okay. What sucks right now, it's been a sobering couple of days for me, is the top of my head is burnt for the first time, and I'm afraid it's because my hair is thinning.
Why didn't you wear a hat?
Well, you're broadcasting. Wear professional look.
Baseball, right?
Yeah. So, this morning, put the brush through my hair.
That's not good. I've
I've
brushed a sunburned part before.
It
and
was not good.
It's like, I'll just wait a week to brush my hair again.
Yeah. I was like, well, no hats, no brushing for the next week. Things could get interesting here in the next couple of days.
Tune into the show. YouTube today to see the natural progression of Ethan's demise.
This is the beginning. This is where it's not too bad. Give it a couple of days and It's not going to be good. The St. Louis Blues, tough loss last night, also a sobering loss, faced off against the Colorado Avalanche, the best team in the NHL.
Oh,
and
gosh.
with that win, the Avs clinched the top seed in the Western Conference. 3-1 final score. The Avalanche outshot the Blues in this game 37-14. The funny part is that
Not much of a hockey person. That seems bad.
yeah, it is. At one point, the shots were 19-2 in this game. But the funny part is that 3 days ago in Colorado, the Blues beat the Avalanche 3-2. It was a great game, one of the better games of the year. And Robert Thomas had a hat trick. A very fun game to watch. And the Avs clearly were not happy or satisfied with their play on Sunday night, and they showed that yesterday evening against St. Louis. So now, following the loss for the Blues, they're 5 points out of a playoff spot. Their playoff percentage chances currently stand at less than 1%. So not
So
looking
you're saying
great.
there's a chance.
There technically is still a chance, while although things are not looking great for St. Louis. They host the Winnipeg Jets on Thursday night, which I believe is their third last home game of the year. I will be in attendance for that game. Looking forward to getting back to the Enterprise Center. Let's hope that the Blues can put together a win on Thursday. The Battlehawks got smacked up against the Renegades of Texas this past weekend, 31-15, or this on Tuesday night, 31-15 was the final score. And it was pretty much all Dallas in this game. Battlehawks were chasing the entire game. And like I said, final score 31-15. So 1-1 on the season now, and their next game coming up this Sunday against the Birmingham Stallions. They'll be back at the Dome at America Center, so back in St. Louis. And you guys watched the Cardinals game last night?
Yeah.
I did.
No.
Great game, wasn't it?
Fun.
Such a fun game. We've seen
All the games that I've watched so far have been fun because there's been a lot of action.
Well, they're now
maybe less defense.
They're
or pitching.
They are now 6-6 on the year, I believe, and they have 6-5. 6-5 on the year. 6-5 on the year now, and 5 of those wins have come from behind wins.
Mm-hmm.
They have been
you watching.
They've been very creative in how they score runs. They've been able to manufacture in different ways. Small ball has certainly been something that they have done a lot of this year, but that's a fun product. It's
fun baseball.
It's fun baseball. We know that the expectations...
Strikeout, home run, strikeout.
Predictable,
home run.
It's boring. That has not been the way that the Cardinals have been playing this year. So it's been fun to watch.
It's more baseball.
Yes, it literally is. Jordan Walker has been the bright spot for the Cardinals this year. Hit his 4th home run of the year.
Charlie's super pumped to have picked up Jordan Walker on his fantasy team.
That's a big dub.
Yeah,
big dub.
Yeah.
Charlie, good
Wouldn't
work.
have seen that at the beginning of the maybe.
No.
Maybe I'll give updates on Charlie's fantasy team throughout the year. How boring would that be?
I'd be intrigued.
It's all he talks about.
It's you got to be married to the game. The Cardinals won yesterday in 10 innings. 7-6 was the final score. They were trailing at one point in this game, 5-2. Notable performances, like I said, Walker homered again last night. Nathan Church had a 2-run home run to tie things in the bottom of the 8th. Thomas Saggese had an RBI double to give the Cardinals the lead in the 10th. J.J. Weatherholt had his first career double that added on to that lead, and they would end up holding on in the bottom of the 10th. So the Cardinals now 2-0 in extra inning games this year. And, hey, we're 11 games in, but I think you have to at least be happy with what you've seen so far from St. Louis's, I would call it feisty and young style of play.
Could be worse.
Oh, my goodness, yes. It could be so much worse. We could be the Chicago Cubs. We have a better record than right now. Who knows how long that lasts, but at least it's there right now.
One more real quick before we go?
Yeah, St. Louis voters recently decided to renew a long-standing 1% earnings tax for anyone who lives or works in the city.
That's good, because not everybody is gone yet.
This is true. Most, but not all. According to results from St. Louis election officials, voters approved Proposition E to renew the city's earning tax by a wide margin, 84.76% to 15.24%. Nearly 27,000 residents voted with a turnout of less than 14%. 27,000 residents voted.
How many people in St. Louis proper?
We'll do some quick math. That's less than 14%. So I don't know. You would multiply that by
10.5.
By what? 5, 6 ish. Yeah, 15.
That is unbelievable. Why would you vote for that? Why would you vote to tax yourself?
Because you're, I don't know.
Unless you live in
like
the
a million
city
people.
and you work outside the city and you go, yeah, let's stick it to the people that work here.
20,000. Well, this is St. Louis County, and this
this is county.
No, I looked at county. This is St. Louis City.
Yeah, it's like.
Is it downtown or is it all of St. Louis City?
This says the earnings tax is a 1% levy on earned income for anyone who works or lives in the city of St. Louis. Revenue from the tax supports police, firefighters, trash collection, street repairs, neighborhood stabilization, and other essential city services. It also contributes to the maintenance of parks, museums, sporting events, and the Gateway Arch.
You know what I would be willing to do is potentially, I don't get a vote in this because while I'm being taxed here, I can't vote for it or against it, but I also can choose to not work in St. Louis City, so that's on the table. But I would be in favor potentially of a one-time sort of investment of something like that if I knew it was going to revive the city. If the city was primed for repair and growth, with businesses having committed to come downtown and saying we're going to come down, but we're going to relocate our business from some other city around the country to St. Louis because St. Louis was going all in. We're fixing everything, and we talked about this before. But Tucker being paved is so nice.
So nice.
The hotel, the AC hotels, is it a Marriott right there? Is the way they've been refinishing it.
For a couple years.
Yes, for a long time. It's looking so nice. But you look right across the street, and you've got some moron graffiti up on a parking garage that says city takeover and F the police. This is all right across the street.
Yep.
Are you going to clean that off? And the answer is probably no, because it's going to show up tomorrow if you clean it off today. So if you want to tax the people who are working and earning down here, give them something more to come down and enjoy. So we see the pavings of the road. It makes such a big difference. It's actually the first time I've been driving downtown and thought to myself, this is really nice. But you're surrounded by homeless tent cities, people begging in the medians at every single stoplight, and graffiti all over that makes you think, this is not a safe place to be.
If it could be used effectively, right, then it makes sense. The earning tax accounts for roughly 36% of the city's general revenue. It says generating hundreds of millions of dollars annually. It's been held in place since 1954 and has gone before voters every 5 years since 2011.
Are they having to tax more because so many people have left that less people are earning downtown to be taxed? Because that problem ends up cannibalizing itself. It's the same thing that's happening in the state of Illinois. Thanks, Ethan. Good story.
It's what I do.
All right, let's take a break. The YouTube poll, how do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? Is it the art of the deal? Too soon to know? Or Trump always chickens out? Before we go to a break here, enjoy some songs from Free Willy. We'll be right back. Man, if this music doesn't motivate you to call Civia Law, what actually will, people? I've been telling you, but that is inspiring for estate planning needs.
What?
Just take my word for it, Ryan. Todd Civia and
you know
Michael
what? The
Jackson.
first time I saw Free Willy, I thought,
You know
I
what
probably need to set up an estate plan.
I need a will.
Yeah.
You Free Willy.
Oh.
You good?
Yeah, you can carry on.
Am I good?
No.
Okay. Todd Civia, Civia Law, 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. I guess if you type 995-WILLY, it would still work. You add another number on the end, it doesn't matter, right? For your estate planning needs, for your elder law concerns, if you don't have a will, a trust, a power of attorney put together yet, you got to have that done. If you are somebody who did it and you haven't looked at it in a while, you need to have it re-examined. You're supposed to have it re-examined every 3 years or so. Laws change. There are benefits that might exist that you didn't know that you had. And certainly there are instances in your family with people who are maybe going to be a part of your inheritance. Maybe you want to keep them out of it. Circumstances change. Have it re-looked at. He's in Missouri and he's in Illinois. 833-995-WILL is the number to call. And a reminder, if you're one of the first 10 listeners to call right now, you're going to get your strategy session, that initial meeting with them, free. It's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. Tell them Annie sent you. CiviaLaw.com.
The YouTube live chat poll today is, how do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? Is it the art of the deal in play? Is it too soon to know? Or is it that Trump is a taco, which means Trump always chickens out? That's apparently a thing. Let us know what you think about that question. How do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? Let us know on the YouTube live chat poll or texting 314-241-9797. It is 2:41. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Gosh, what's the temperature outside these days? Is it cold?
Supposed to be higher today. Like
it was supposed to be a
76
high
of
of yeah, I saw 73 or 4.
Oh, that's good.
It'll be really nice if it's it should be really nice right now.
There are leaves on the trees. I mean, I don't know if you pay attention to this. I love spring. I've talked about this on the air before. But to me, it's like the trees are leafless, and then all of a sudden you look around and you can miss the budding season and everything, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, it's spring again.
Yeah, you know what's great about winter into February is that the tree across the street from me doesn't ever lose its leaves. And so it just keeps dropping old, nasty leaves into my yard for the entire season.
Oh,
that's why I love spring, because that ends.
Thank you for the...
Sorry, it was a little negative.
That's how I used to see when I was in college. I would always time where I was in the spring semester, because you go into class and I'd look out the window and it would just be sticks outside. And then you'd see the buds and be like, oh, we're getting close. So it's always makes me smile when I see the green.
Anything else to add?
That guy needs to rake my yard, because it's not even my tree.
Does he know you're on there?
I don't know.
What's the chances that he knows that you're talking about him right now?
I would say 20%.
Did you do that on purpose then? Is this the not so subtle, very super passive aggressive way of talking to your neighbor?
It's definitely not subtle. I don't know that I did it on purpose. And I will say that one time his wife did come and help us rake our yard. And that was very nice of her.
How good of a neighbor are you?
I think pretty good. We got kids, though, so they're leaving stuff out all the time. And, but we're pretty
that
conscious
automatically
of it.
takes you down a few notches.
Yeah, I think we're
Just
the only
the
one
presence of children
with kids, probably on our whole street. We're the only one with kids, so that comes with the territory of they're leaving bikes out and stuff.
Does that bother people?
I don't know.
Have your kids ever been a nuisance to other people?
I mean, we're kind of friends, at least friendly with our neighbors, and in fact, one of our neighbors, they're an elderly couple that we're pretty good friends. Like, not want to say like we hang out with them, but we're pretty good friends with them, and the kids just go over there and talk with them all the time, and they love it.
Do you have you ever had a terrible neighbor story?
Not since college. In college,
Apartment?
it was apartments.
Share a wall, terrible, or what?
Yeah, share a wall, terrible. Actually, it was in the dorm. The last one I can remember. There's probably been other stories, but the last one was above me in a dorm. There was a couple of guys that would play some sort of dice game all night on the floor.
Maybe it's just rats.
All night. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, we'd leave.
Maybe it was rats playing dice games.
We'd leave full sandwiches out and they'd be gone. We just figured it was the neighbors.
No crumbs left behind. Brad, you said a bad neighbor?
I've got 3 of them currently. And it's all pot. It's all pot. All 3 of my neighbors smoke pot. And they don't want to stink up their house, so they go outside to smoke it. House. And so they stink up the whole neighborhood. And it's,
oh, man.
It's so frustrating. I mean, outside, they're great people outside of that, but it's just like, I wish you wouldn't do that, Is
that a public nuisance?
Yes. I'm answering for you.
Okay, but I don't want to call the cops on them because they're...
No, I understand.
But it's like...
Maybe you should take a hit and relax. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, Annie.
Have a couple of tokes and chill out, my man.
I wouldn't
around
know.
the shanty mama.
I've heard. I've just been told. When we moved into a new house, our neighbor, my husband was mowing the backyard. The first thing our backyard neighbor said to us was, "You better take care of this place back here." It's like...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was super awful.
What happened to that guy? Dead?
No.
Oh.
He's in the backyard.
I said, we'll take care of it. Pushing daisies. Let's
Problem
go.
solved.
No, not at all. The ironic thing was that we had 3 separate people come by and be like, you're going to want to watch out for that guy.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a backyard neighbor like that for a little while. And I think I said dead because that is what happened to him. He died.
But not because of you.
Not because of me. He had some other health complications.
Just time.
He died. And now we have those same neighbors, and they're fantastic. In fact, have you ever heard of the Christian artist Josh Wilson?
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, our backyard neighbors, they hired Josh Wilson to come do a concert during the pandemic for our whole neighborhood. And he just was there and playing some music in our backyard.
That's pretty fun.
It was awesome.
You guys know what my back deck looks like. I've gone out there. It's like this walkout big deck because we replaced it. Stewart's, American Mortgage, Cash Out Refinance. It's a perfect because we look out over the back area. I'm like, we could do concerts for people. We should have done that during COVID because we could have entertained people from a distance. The one thing we did do is I went out and sang the Elsa cadence from Frozen 2.
Yeah, you went.
And then there'd be children from all across the backyard who would repeat it back to us. We still do that every once in a while. We'll be right back with the results. Don't go away. So we've got another event coming up. I'm excited about this April 28th event with the Retirement Advisory Group at the DoubleTree Chesterfield. Different location than the majority of the time. So this is the same one that we went to the last one. It was great. So hopefully you can make it to this upcoming Retirement Advisory Group Protecting Your Retirement educational event. If you would like to get your free personalized retirement income plan taken care of. If you are wondering right now, gosh, can I afford to retire? How much am I going to be able to pay myself in retirement? This is the event for you. It is a free event. It's not going to take very long at all. Starts at 6:30 p.m. I'll show up at about 6 o'clock and hang out with as many of you. I'd love to meet each and every one of you between 6 and 6:30. The event starts at 6:30 and maybe lasts 45 minutes, so it doesn't suck up a whole bunch of your evening. What you got to do is call and reserve your spot with the Retirement Advisory Group for this April 28th DoubleTree Chesterfield event that starts at 6:30, but get there early if you want to say hello. 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
I'm Kim Commando, inviting you to listen to my show. Come be a part of the show. Every weekend, I take your calls as we talk about smartphones, artificial intelligence, security, and trends that change every single day. It's the Kim Commando Show, every Sunday from 3 to 4.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis, at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
The Annie Frey Show is St. Louis conservative.
Do you know where Kanye West is on his roller coaster of a life?
No idea. I was thinking the same thing. I have no clue. But every time I hear this song, I think about that moment in time when I was working in TV and everybody was listening to this song.
He just gave a concert. It was enormously attended.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not doing bad. It's not like people have written Kanye West off. So imagine that. You following any of the Tucker Carlson stuff? We'll just dabble in this here before we give the poll results.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
You see, he called, I saw their headline. I didn't read the article, so maybe I got it wrong, but he's referring to President Trump as potentially the Antichrist.
I did see that.
What do you think about that?
I think it's stupid.
What if Tucker's the Antichrist?
Not powerful enough.
Phenomenal cosmic powers.
And also, we got to have the third temple rebuilt, so I don't think we're quite ready yet.
I can't. I feel like I can relegate a lot of that nonsense noise that surrounds I don't even know. They're not the far right. I don't even think they should be classified as right. But these people.
Alt-right, maybe?
It could be alt-right. That could be a way to talk about it. But I don't think that it should be. I don't know that I don't know what's conservative about what Tucker Carlson is saying these days. It's such a fall from grace, just from my own personal perspective, as somebody who I watched. I almost didn't miss an episode. DVR it, watch it. That's the way I watch Jesse Waters now, because I feel like the delivery is a way that I can consume the key points that have happened from the time that I close the mic at 3 and hand it over to Mark Reardon to the evening time. Most of the news stories have happened and concluded. So that time slot, which is the same as Tucker's, is the right time slot for me. But man, I just feel like it's such distracting noise, and I want to say they're just doing it for clicks and views, but Tucker should be above that. He doesn't need the finances for it. I don't know what kind of power he's trying to consolidate. I don't get it, and I don't want to feel that way about him. But I don't. If there was a way to turn Tucker Carlson off from my entire feeds, I wish that I could do that.
I know.
I definitely feel the same way about Candace Owens. I just don't want to consume anything that she's putting out.
It's kind of like the crazy artist who, if you gave them parameters, it could make something very beautiful. And then you give them just a ton of money and no parameters, say, here, go make art. And they blow up. Like they don't know what to do because they need the box to work in.
I just don't get it. I mean, I'm certain there's a lot of people listening right now that do like one of those two people, but I don't feel like exposing myself to them is the right thing to do. Ethan, you got the results for today's YouTube poll?
I sure do. Today's YouTube live chat poll, 213
sound like you're stalling.
votes. I'm not stalling. How do you feel about President Trump's 2-week ceasefire with Iran? 6% say taco, Trump always chickens out. 44% say art of the deal, and 50% say it is too soon to know.
I'm a too soon to know. I think it's headed towards the art of the deal, but it's too soon to know.
It's too soon.
6% of you say he chickens out. I'm glad. I always like to square in on that 6%. It's usually less than 10. The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk. Next, don't go away.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Ethos.
Once left for dead, or redevelopment, the shopping mall is making a comeback, and Gen Z is leading the way.
The mall rats are back, but these aren't the same